The following programs were originally aired live, long before the advent of high fidelity, and they were recorded using a variety of means, from direct recording onto early audio tape and glass records, to simply placing the microphone of a wire recorder in front of the speakers of a radio playing the program. I hope, however, that any variance in audio quality will not take away from your pleasure in listening to these, some of the all-time favorite shows.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Next guest will give you the laughs, just don't ask him to lend you money. It's Jack Benny coming up next.
The Jack Benny Program.
Quality of product is essential to continuing success.
At 48, sold American.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
Yes, sir.
Sure thing.
That's right. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
That real deep down smoking enjoyment you get in your Lucky Strike can be described in just 5 words. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, you get real deep down smoking enjoyment because of that finer, lighter, naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
Sold American.
The Lucky Strike Program, coming to you from the Astor Hotel in New York City, starring Jack Benny, with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Larry Stevens, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you a man who got on a train in Los Angeles and came to New York by way of
Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
What scenery?
And here he is, the star of our show, Jack Benny.
Thank you. Hello again, this is Jack Benny talking, and Don, when I arrived in New York, now you won't believe this, but I got an official welcome. In fact, Mayor LaGuardia wanted me to be with him so much, he made me an honorary fireman. Gosh, what an honor it was to meet Mayor LaGuardia. There he was, dressed up in his fire hat and everything. And Don, when he shook hands with me, I was chilled.
Jack, you mean thrilled?
No, chilled. He stuck a cold nozzle in my hand. Well, anyway, Don, here we are, New York. What a town. I don't know what it is, but it's so different from Waukegan. Yes, sir.
You really love New York, don't you, Jack?
Well, I like it, you know.
Like it? Why, Jack, when we arrived here, the first thing you did when you stepped off the train was to get down and kiss the ground.
I did not. I slipped on the ice.
Well, Jack, if you only slipped on the ice, why did you stay down there so long?
I told you I was shaking hands with Mayor LaGuardia. Don, I had to do it then. After all, who knows when I'm going to be down that way again. Anyway, Don, kidding aside, it's really great to be back in New York.
Yes, it is, Jack, and my wife and I are having a grand time.
Oh, you brought your wife with you. I didn't know that.
Yes, you see, Jack, it's our anniversary, and we wanted to be together.
Oh, your anniversary. Well, congratulations, Don.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
And I'll tell you what I'm going to do just for a little anniversary present. As long as we're in New York, I'll pay all your expenses, your hotel bill and everything, For you and your wife.
Oh, you don't have to do that,
Oh,
Jack.
yes, I insist.
No, Jack, no, really. I don't feel that I should...
Don,
permit
I
you-
don't want to hear any more about it. I insist on paying your wife's expenses as well as your own.
Well, thanks. Thanks, Jack. That's darn nice of you.
That's all right. By the way, Don, where are you staying?
At the Waldorf Astoria.
Oh. Oh, the Waldorf Astoria.
Yes, it's on Park Avenue.
I know where it is, you big fat head. All right, Don, I made a promise, and I'm going to stick to it. You can live at the Waldorf.
Well, thanks.
And here's a handful of nickels. You know where to eat. I mean, there's no use standing in line for change.
All
you
right,
know.
folks, I know the temperature dropped a point, but Harris is here to heat up this joint. Hiya, fellas.
Hey, Phil, you don't have to bust in here like a heat wave. Harris is here to warm up the joint. It's not that cold in New York.
It ain't, huh?
No.
Well, it's the first time I ever seen the Statue of Liberty blowing on her hands. Oh, Harris, you joy boy. You're right from Dixie, and you're in your cups, you kid. Yes, there.
Phil,
Yes.
stop with those silly gags. Everybody who can't stand the cold makes up jokes about it. If you were red-blooded like I am, you could stand this type of weather.
Oh, sure.
What do you mean, oh, sure?
Remember the other morning when you were shaving and cut yourself?
Yeah?
Your blood came out, went hubba, and crawled right back in again.
Well, that happened when I first got here, but I'm getting a... Come in.
Mr. Benny, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Mr. Beck, the manager of the Astor Hotel.
Now, how do you do, sir?
And since you're honoring us by broadcasting from our ballroom, I want to make sure that nothing interferes with your program.
Well, thank you. You're very considerate.
Are the microphones working all right?
Yes.
I'd better make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, Mom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Look, the microphones are all right. Now, look at this.
Good.
They're all...
Because I don't want anything to interfere with your program.
Thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, Phil Harris's orchestra is going to play a
Is
number.
the piano in tune?
Yes, the piano's in tune. Look at the piano's in tune. It's in tune. Look, Mr. Beck, will you please?
You know, I used to play a little bit myself.
Mr. Beck! Believe me, everything is all right.
Good, because I don't want anything to interfere with your program.
I know. Everything is fine.
Well, then, I'll be running along, and if there's anything you
Look out!
need...
Look out for those steps! Mr. Beck! I knew that would happen. I knew it. Play, Phil. will you? That was Accentuate the Positive, played by Phil Harris and his New York, New Haven, and It Shouldn't Happen to Hartford orchestra. It's the one I wanted Mary to hear at home. Say, Phil. I love that gag. Say, Phil, where did you pick up these boys?
Oh, what are you talking about? This is my regular orchestra. I brought them from Hollywood.
From Hollywood?
Yeah, you just don't recognize them. They're wearing shoes.
Shoes? Oh, yes, they are. Phil, how in the world did you ever get them to put them on?
Well, I told them it was a publicity stunt.
Oh. Well, are they having fun here in New York?
Well, their feet hurt them, but they're having a good time.
Well, that's fine.
Hey, Donzie, how about you? You enjoying your stay here?
I sure am, Phil, especially since my wife is with me.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. This is your anniversary, isn't it? Happy anniversary, Don.
Well, thanks, Phil. And you know what, Phil?
No, what?
Well, Jack's paying all the expenses for my wife and me at the Waldorf Astoria.
Say, that's great. Jack who?
Jack me. That's Jack who. I'm paying all the expenses for Don and his wife while they're in New York. It was my own idea.
It can't be the heat. It's cold here.
All right, it's cold here.
Oh, by the way, Phil, I saw you last night at Frank Fay's new show. Did you see it, Jack?
Frank Fay? Not yet, Don.
Well, don't miss it. He's a scream. I tell you, Jack, my sides still ache.
Oh. Frank Fay, huh?
Yeah, you should have been there, Jackson. You know, Don laughs louder at Frank Fay than he does at you.
Oh, he does, eh?
What else you see, Phil?
Oh, I've seen a lot of shows. You know, I've been going to the theater every night.
Frank Fay.
I saw Bloomer Girl, I saw Laughing Room Only, Mexican Hayride, and then I saw
Just
thing
a minute,
called...
Phil. Listen, Wilson, what's so funny about Frank Fay?
Well, to tell you the truth, Jack, I think he's one of the greatest comedians I've ever seen.
Oh, you do, eh?
Yes, I do.
Well, then get him to pay your wife's expenses at the Waldorf. I'm no sucker.
Oh, Jackson, you don't expect Don to go to a show and not laugh at it, do you?
No, but he doesn't have to keep raving about Frank Fay all the time.
Oh.
I wasn't raving about him. I just said I liked him.
All right, you like him. That doesn't mean you have to go around telling people that I'm washed up. Then he is through, finished.
Who said that?
I can read between the lines, brother.
Oh, what are you talking
The minute
about?
he gets in town, he's got to go right over and see Frank Fay.
Well, now, wait a minute, Jackson. He didn't
When he
say
comes to
that...
the program, all he talks about, Frank Fay, Frank Fay, Frank Fay. Frank Fay, wonderful comedian.
Well, what about it?
I hear.
Well, what about it?
I see no reason for paying Mrs. Wilson's hotel bill. So, the deal's off, Don.
Oh, boy, I wish I'd get out of my girdle that easy.
Never mind the joke. You're here to do the commercial, and it's time we had one. So go
Well,
ahead
Jack,
with it.
I should have mentioned this to you, but the sponsor told me that while we're in New York, he'd like a little variety on the commercials, so he's sending over a special announcer to do them.
Oh, well, he'll probably show up. That's strange, bringing in another announcer. I wonder if...
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Oh, hello, Larry. How are you, Jim? Well, Larry, you got here just in time to do your song.
I know, and I'm so nervous. It's the first time I've ever sang in New York.
Well, I can understand how you feel, kid. Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I played my violin here in New York. I was just about your age, and I was just as nervous as you are.
Well, you should have been with those Indians shooting those arrows at you.
Phil, stop exaggerating. Larry's nervous enough as it is. Now go ahead and sing, kid, and don't worry about the Indians. I mean, don't worry about anything.
Okay.
Hold it a minute, kid. Come in. Yes?
Mr. Benny, I'm coming here to welcoming you to New York.
Yeah, why, it's Mrs. Nussbaum.
I'm resembling maybe the Bloomer Girl.
No, of course not, but I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. And, Mr. Benny, I'm inviting you after your broadcast. You should be guest of honor at my new restaurant.
Oh, you have a restaurant here?
Yes, and what a romantic place. We feature soft lights and hard salami.
Well, I'll be very happy to drop in, but I didn't know you were in the restaurant business.
Oh, this is only of a recent nature.
Oh.
I've been running this restaurant only since I stopped working for, you should excuse the expression, Fred Allen.
Oh, I see.
Not only is mine restaurant serving the best from delicacies, But we are also featuring a floor show which would make Herman Billingsley turn Greek with envy.
Oh, you have a floor show, too?
Yes. And for my featured attraction next week, I'm trying to get Frankie Boy. Oh.
You mean Sinatra?
Who else? Then Frankie Boy is singing, "Won't you tell me when we should meet again?" I am telling him instantly.
Mrs. Nussbaum.
And when he's singing, "Don't fence me in," I am already waiting at the gate.
Well, Mrs. Nussbaum, I'll be very happy to come to your restaurant, but how do I get there?
First, you are taking the subway.
Uh-huh.
Then you are crossing the bridge, and you are finding yourself in, you should excuse the expression, Brooklyn.
Oh.
And, Mr. Benny, you should realize how lucky you are I am inviting you to my restaurant on a Sunday.
Why?
Well, I will clarify. In my restaurant on Monday, we are having Meatless Tuesday. This is followed by Wheaty-less Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
Then comes Without Turkey Thursday, which precedes Flounderless Friday. And sugar you positively cannot get on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
But when you come on Sunday, you are very lucky.
Why?
Because on Sunday, we're closed altogether.
Well, it was certainly nice seeing Mrs. Nussbaum again. All right, Larry, go ahead and sing.
Oh, say, Mr. Benny, I meant to ask you, where's Miss Livingston?
Why, she still has a bad cold, and she's listening to the program at the hotel. I'm sure she'll be with us next week.
Well, Mr. Benny, would it be all right if I dedicate my number to her?
Oh, that'd be very nice, Larry. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. Go ahead and sing, kid.
The night is young and you're so beautiful. Here among the shadows, beautiful lady, open your heart. The scene is set, the breezes sing of it, and you get into the swing of it, lady. When do we start? When the lady is kissable and the evening is cool, any dream is permissible in the heart of a fool. The moon is high and you're so glamorous, and if I seem over amorous, lady, what can I do? The night is young and I'm in love with you.
Young and You're So Beautiful, sung by Larry Stevens, the Candy Bar Kid. And I'm sure Mary liked it. Say, Larry, this is your first trip, Larry. This is your first trip to New York, isn't it? Huh?
Yes, Mr. Benny.
Well, have you been anywhere? Have you seen any of the sights?
Well, I went to Central Park and the Bronx Zoo.
Oh.
And yesterday, when I was walking along the street, I saw the Empire State Building.
Oh, well, you know, that's the tallest building in the world, you know.
I know. So I took an elevator and went all the way up to the top.
Well, you look down at the street?
Well, what for? I just came from there.
Calls for some kind of an answer there. Larry, the only reason people take the elevator to go up... Come in.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Benny.
Why, Fred, how are you?
Well, I haven't time to bandy pleasantries, Mr. Benny. This really isn't a social call. I'm here on business.
Business?
Yes. Your sponsor hired me to read the commercial.
Oh, so you're the guy. But, Fred, I thought radio was through with... you were through with radio.
Well, I haven't got my own program anymore, but I do odd jobs, a commercial here, a sound effect there, an occasional sob on John's other wife.
And by that you managed to eke out a living?
If it doesn't make you too unhappy, yes. And here I am tonight slumming on your show.
Slumming, for your information, Alan, my program is right up on top.
On top? Listen, Benny, your program is so low, gravity will have nothing to do with it. And you won't find it in there. I called in a little writer who was going by on the street. Furthermore, he gave me this in case the other one didn't go. Furthermore, your program is so full of corn, its rating goes up and down with the grain market.
That's the one we gave you.
Yes. And another thing, I don't believe Mary Livingston is sick tonight at all. You just made her stay home so you'd be sure of one listener.
All right. Look, you came here to read a commercial, so do it and get out of here.
Oh, Mr. Benny, you're losing your temper.
I am not losing my temper.
Well, your forehead is getting red right up to the roots of your toupee.
Listen, Alan, I don't know why my sponsor had to send you over. Doesn't he know that I pay Don Wilson a big salary to read the commercial? Can't Wilson read it?
Well, yes, but your sponsor feels that with the local butchers on strike, it isn't safe for all of that beef to linger too long in one spot.
Well, then, all right, read the commercial and get out of here.
All right. Well, now, you just step aside, Mr. Benny. I use big words and make gestures. I need a lot of room. Would you step back from the microphone?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Click, 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 click.
Wait a minute. Wait. Are you doing a commercial or do you have lower plate wobble? Nice to get one in myself here once in a while.
Now, quiet, please, Mr. Benny. This may be my big opportunity. Click, 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 click. Yes, sir. Sure thing. That's right. Oh, boy. Wahoo! Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
What diction?
So round, so firm, and like Mr. Benny's wallet, so fully packed.
Now, look.
But unlike Mr. Benny's wallet, Lucky Strikes are free and easy on the draw.
Now, wait a minute.
With men who know tobacco best, it's Lucky's 2-1.
That's better.
And with men who know comedians best, it's A-L-L-E-N.
It's B-E-N-N-Y. B-E-N-N-Y is what
42, Billy, 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 Billy,
Fred, that's enough. Fred, that's enough.
Now, don't stop me, Jack. Up to now, this is the cleverest dialogue on your show.
Fred, where are you going? Fred, look out for those steps. Fred, are you hurt? Fred, say something.
Sold America.
What a guy. You know, Phil, I can't understand the sponsor sending a guy like that over here to do a commercial.
Oh, I don't know, Jackson. Alan's a pretty sharp apple. You know, he was on Information, Please.
So what? I've been on with the Quiz Kids 3 times.
Oh,
Sharp
yeah,
apple.
that's right. I remember the last time you were on with the Quiz Kids, you got Sword Slapperman.
That's Kupperman.
Oh.
Joel Kupperman. Had a right to get sore at him. You know, because he used square root to figure out my age. And I wasn't supposed to... I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Is that you, Rochester?
It ain't the voice of the turtle.
Rochester, where are you?
I'm in Harlem.
Well, why is it every time we come to New York, I have the same trouble with you? I didn't even see you when we got off the train.
I jumped off the train when it passed 135th Street.
Jumped off?
Yeah, when I go to Harlem, I like to get a running start.
Rochester, you got the keys to my trunk and you've been gone 4 days. I bet you're on some kind of a wild party.
Oh, no, boss. No, I'm not.
You're not, eh?
Oh, no, sir. I'm here visiting my grandmother.
You're what?
My grandmother. She's 88 years old.
88 years old?
Yeah, sweetest little old lady you ever saw.
Well.
Granny, pour me another cup of tea, will you, please?
Now, Rochester.
Just a minute, boss. Put an olive in it, honey.
Olive? Rochester, what did you say about an olive?
That's my grandmother's name, Olive Johnson.
What?
I got a cousin named Pimento.
Rochester, you're not telling me the truth, and I just happen to remember that your grandmother lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's the grandmother on my father's side. This is the one on my mother's side.
What about the grandmother you said you had in Chicago?
She joined the wax.
There you are, Rochester. You got yourself all mixed up. You can't have 3 grandmothers.
What'd you say, boss?
I said you can't have 3 grandmothers.
Are you sure?
Of course.
Okay. You'll have to get off my lap, honey. We ain't related.
Now, Rochester, you're not fooling me. I know you're at a party. I want you to be at my hotel in an hour. Goodbye.
But, boss, can't I stay just a little longer? If I leave now, it'll break up all the fun.
Why, how many people are there at the party?
22.
22? Then how can your leaving make any difference?
Because 21 of them are girls.
21 of them are girls. You're the only man, and how can you call that a party?
Oh, boss, calm down.
I don't want to hear another word about it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Every time I come to New York, this happens. Every time. Play, Phil.
Jack will be back in just a minute, but first, here's my good friend L.A. Speed Riggs.
I've spent 13 years buying tobacco. The advantage I have over most smokers when it comes to selecting a cigarette is that I know tobacco so well. And at auction after auction, I've seen Lucky Strike buy quality tobacco. That's why I've smoked Lucky's myself for 12 years.
This is what Charles Belvin of Durham, North Carolina said. And when a tobacco expert like Mr. Belvin gives eyewitness testimony as to who buys what tobacco, you know Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
The famous tobacco auctioneers heard on tonight's program are Mr. F.E. Boone of Lexington, Kentucky.
At 45, 45, sold American.
And Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs of Goldsboro, North Carolina.
$43, sold American.
Basil Rysdale speaking for Lucky Strike. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
You bet. And how?
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Fred, I want to thank you for coming over. It's nice of my sponsor to have you do the commercial.
Well, I want to thank you, too, Jack.
Thank me? What for?
Well, your sponsor said you'd pay me.
Oh. Oh.
There he goes again, folks, with that oh. For 12 years now, he's been going oh. You know, someday he's going to ad-lib a fourth O, and his writers will go out and drop dead in a body. You hear that, folks? He said, what a change of pace.
Look, Fred, instead of sending you a check, I'll be a guest on your program.
But, Jack, I haven't any program.
Well, then I'll just walk around with you for about a half hour someday, huh? Good night, folks. Good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Tales of espionage are coming at you with CounterSpy next.
The National Broadcasting Company presents CounterSpy.
Washington calling David Harding, CounterSpy. Washington calling David Harding, CounterSpy.
Harding, CounterSpy. Calling Washington.
United States CounterSpies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
These CounterSpy reports to the American people are brought to you each Friday night. Tonight, the case of the insidious impersonation.
Agent Ferguson, CounterSpy Liaison Bureau, Washington, to David Harding, Communications Section, Pacific Coast Field Headquarters. Urgent. Ferguson to Harding.
Harding, Pacific Coast Field Headquarters.
Reference confidential file R33X, sir.
Confidential file R33X. Go ahead, Ferguson.
Special request has just come through from the State Department that you personally meet the liner SS Trigania, which arrives in New York tomorrow.
What time is the Trigania due?
It's scheduled to dock at Pier 33 at 10 a.m.
All right, Ferguson, have a cutter standing by for my use. And notify the parties concerned that I'll board the Trigania at Ambrose Light.
Yes, sir, will do.
Peters, notify Spaulding that I'm putting him in charge of our present operation here on the West Coast till you and I get back.
Till we get back? Where are we going?
Now, after you talk to Spaulding, call the airport and order the jet to be ready for a takeoff within an hour.
Why the big rush, Mr. Harding? What's up?
We're making an emergency flight to New York, Peters. I'll give you the details on the way.
Well, Mr. Harding, how about those details now?
Peters, we're flying to New York in reference to confidential file R33X.
File R33X.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. You weren't in Washington last week when I discussed the matter with Mr. Johnson of the State Department.
No. Just what is R33X, Chief?
That's the code number for a special mission to Washington by Mr. Ramon Sierra.
Ramon Sierra, the Philippine statesman?
Yes. Mr. Sierra and his aide, Colonel Manuel Quinto, are scheduled to arrive in New York tomorrow morning aboard the liner Trigania.
I don't get it, Dave. Why New York?
Well, Mr. Sierra is ostensibly taking a long ocean voyage for his health.
Ostensibly?
Uh-huh.
A cover-up for his business here, hmm?
Exactly. Very careful plans were made not to arouse the suspicions of Huck espionage agents in the Philippines. The secret conference in Washington will deal with a defense plan for the islands in case of a surprise attack like the Korean affair.
It's certainly big stuff, Dave. There's no telling what espionage agents would do to get information on what'll be said at that conference.
Or no telling what they would do to stop it. That's why we're on our way to New York, Peters, to make sure that Mr. Sierra's mission is accomplished safely and successfully.
Senor Sierra? Senor?
Over here, Colonel Quinto. At the deck's rail.
What is it, Colonel King?
I have been looking all over the ship for you, Senor Sierra.
Oh?
We have just received a radiogram from Mr. David Harding of the United States CounterSpies. He's meeting us aboard tomorrow morning to escort you to Washington.
Ah, David Harding. I will be delighted to see him again.
You don't understand, Senor Sierra. There must be a special reason for Mr. Harding himself to come. The CounterSpies must have some special information regarding personal danger to you.
Now, Coronel, do not let your imagination run away with you. I'm sure Mr. Harding comes only because of protocol.
Just this same, Senor, I will not rest easy until tomorrow. I suggest we return to our cabin and remain there until Mr. Harding comes aboard.
What I am expected in a few minutes at Mr. Douglas's cabin. We are to continue our chess game.
Please, Senor, do as I ask. We can afford to trust no one.
Colonel Quinto, you are actually worried about Mr. Douglas.
After all, what do we know of him?
We know that Mr. Robert Douglas is a retired American businessman returning home after a visit to doctors in Vienna.
Espionage agents make use of many disguises.
Mr. Douglas, an espionage agent. Now, Colonel, you're carrying things much too far. Mr. Douglas is a paralytic, confined to a wheelchair for over 5 years. Why, he's so helpless, his nurse, Miss Marshall, even has to make the moves on the chessboard for him.
Just the same, Senor Sierra, we must take every precaution. The future security of our nation is dependent upon your mission. I must insist that you return with me to our cabin.
I am sorry, Colonel, but I have promised my company to a sick man. The least I can do my last night aboard is keep such a promise.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Sierra. Won't you come in?
Thank you, Miss Marshall.
I've already set up the chessboard, and Mr. Douglas is raring to go.
I most certainly am, Mr. Sierra. I brought my aide, Colonel Quinto, along. I believe you gentlemen know each other?
Yes, we do.
Of course. Glad to have you here, Colonel.
Thank you.
To be truthful, Mr. Douglas, the Colonel insisted upon coming. Insisted? The Colonel has a notion that you may be a spy. A spy? Really?
As a matter of fact, Mr. Douglas, I can safely say now that you are a spy. You are no more a wheelchair invalid than I am. Is that not true?
All right, Colonel Quinto. Colonel, he's gotten out of the wheelchair.
And Miss Marshall is not a nurse. Are you, Miss Marshall?
No, I'm not a nurse. But I do know how to administer a hypodermic when its use is called for.
Colonel Quinto, you were correct about them all along. I should have listened to you.
Oh, no. I am glad you did not.
What do you mean?
I wanted you to come here. That was the plan.
Plan?
I know your nature very well by this time. I knew you would insist upon coming if I just went so far.
But I don't understand.
You have the hypodermic ready, Miss Marshall?
Ready, Colonel. Now?
In a moment. Now, do you understand, Sierra?
You have been working with them.
We all work in the same cause.
And I trusted you
That was my purpose, to gain your complete trust. And to make sure that you did not get to that Washington conference tomorrow.
Your plan will not work, Quinto. Mr. Harding will discover what happened when he investigates my death.
But you are not going to die. At least not yet. And you attend that conference tomorrow, but in name only. Is that not right, Douglas?
Si, Colonel Quinto. I will attend. He has my voice.
And that is not all. If you look at Douglas more closely, you will notice that he has your build, too, and your features.
Perhaps that is why you were attracted to me, eh, Sierra?
The impersonation will be flawless. Douglas has been trained well for his assignment. He has memorized all important facts in your career. And Miss Marshall has her duties, too.
I'll use this hypodermic, Mr. Sierra, to keep you quiet and unobtrusive. So I'll have no difficulty in getting you, as the paralytic Mr. Douglas, off this boat tomorrow morning in New York.
And from the boat, you will be taken away by a special ambulance. All right, Miss Marshall.
Now, Mr. Sierra. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I promise to take very good care of you, Mr. Sierra.
What is...
Yes. Miss Marshall will take very good care of you. Until she is instructed to do otherwise.
I don't know.
Feeling tired, Senor Sierra?
This is unbelievable. Fantastic.
Of course, Sierra. Fantastic. Unbelievable. That is what we rely on for our success. No one would believe that such a daring venture as this would be attempted. No one. Not even David Harding.
Who is he? David Harding, United States CounterSpy.
I am Colonel Manuel Quinto, aide to Senor Sierra.
Colonel?
Come in, please, Senor Harding.
Thank you.
I am delighted to see you again, Senor Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Sierra, and welcome back to the United States.
It is good to be here again, Senor, and to renew old friendships, especially with you.
Well, I've been looking forward to this meeting, too, sir.
Let's see. When last we met, yes, it was in December 1943. The conference at your office in Washington in regard to establishing intelligence contact with our partisan forces. Is that not correct?
Oh, yes, that's correct, Mr. Sierra. There was such a conference in my office.
Yes. Senor Sierra has a remarkable memory for dates, places, and persons, Senor Harding.
Especially such a person as you, Senor Harding.
Well, I am sincerely impressed, sir. Tell me, did you have a good voyage?
Very restful, thank you.
And very uneventful, we are happy to report.
Well, gentlemen, I can see no reason why the remainder of your trip should be any more troublesome.
Not as long as we are in your hands, Senor Harding.
Well, just a minute, Miss Marshall.
Why, what is it, Purser?
I saw you starting down this gangplank with that wheelchair.
Well, I'm taking Mr. Douglas to the ambulance waiting on the dock. Is there something wrong?
Why, no, miss. Just thought I'd give you some help.
Oh. Well, no, thank you, Purser. I'm quite able to handle it myself.
Very well. Oh. I say.
Yes?
Mr. Douglas, he's looking rather strange this morning.
Strange?
Yes, as if there's something the matter with him. He's not moving.
Oh, that's nothing at all. He's just asleep. I gave him a sedative.
Oh, I see.
You see, he's had a very trying day.
Well, Miss Marshall, he's certainly a lucky man having someone as attentive as you are to take care of him.
Why, that's my job. That's what I get paid for.
Oh, no, Miss Marshall. I've noticed you many times during this trip. It's obvious to me that you're not just interested in the money that goes with your job.
Driver?
Miss Marshall?
There's a dirt road just ahead on the left. Will you drive the ambulance in there and park?
Right. How's your patient back there? Still asleep?
Uh-huh. And he'll be that way for hours.
How far you want to go, Miss Marshall?
Oh, just a little farther. I've got a car parked in the woods on the side of the road. All right. Stop here.
Okay, Miss Marshall, I'll take him out, get him in the car for you.
Oh, that won't be necessary, driver. I can handle it myself.
He's kind of heavy, you know.
I can manage. And I can manage this gun, too.
You are listening to the case of the insidious impersonation on CounterSpy. Sunday afternoon chimes mean mystery in action on NBC. Mike Waring, better known as the Falcon, lends his debonair touch to the solution of another mystery, followed by that polite, diplomatic, and very deadly detective, the Saint. After the Saint, hear the Big Guy. And then your Sunday afternoon of mystery concludes with that new private eye, Charlie Wilde, who goes into action with a swash of the buckle and a few nonchalant homicides. Now, back to CounterSpy.
Mr. Johnson's office is right down this corridor, Mr. Sierra.
Senor Harding, Colonel Quinto and I are very grateful to you and Senor Peters for escorting us here to Washington for the conference.
It was an honor, Mr. Sierra. Here we are.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Harding.
Afternoon, Miss Lane. This is Mr. Ramon Sierra and his aide, Colonel Quinto.
Mr. Johnson is expecting the gentleman in his office.
Let me thank you again, Senor Harding.
The pleasure was mine, sir.
I hope to see you once more before I leave Washington.
I'm sure we'll see each other again.
This way, gentlemen, please.
Adios, Senor Harding.
Goodbye, Colonel Quinto.
Well, Dave, our job's finished.
No, Peters. Our real job has just begun.
What do you mean?
Hold on a moment. I talked to Mr. Johnson on this phone.
Hello?
Mr. Johnson, this is Harding. Now listen closely. Don't give away that you're talking to me, and don't act surprised by what I'm going to tell you.
I see. Very well.
The man who was just brought into your office is not Ramon Sierra.
What?
The man in your office is an imposter, undoubtedly an espionage agent. Now, you'll have to handle this very delicately. Play along as much as you can, but give out no valuable information. You understand?
Yes. Yes, I understand fully. The matter will be taken care of as expertly as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I or one of my agents will be in touch with you after today's conference. National Airport, Thompson. Make it fast.
Dave, I don't get all this.
I didn't have a chance to explain before, Peters. Now, hold on just another moment while I use the radio. Harding, Car S1, calling headquarters.
Agent Ferguson, go ahead, Mr. Harding.
I just left the State Department building, Ferguson. I want a squad of men sent over immediately to Mr. Johnson's office in the Pacific Affairs Division.
Yes, sir.
Now, my orders are to have Ramon Sierra and Colonel Quinto kept under constant surveillance. Now, one more thing.
Yes, Chief.
Contact the airport. Tell them I want the jet ready for an immediate flight back to New York.
Will do, Mr. Harding.
Dave, when did you find out he wasn't the real Ramon Sierra?
When I first spoke to him in his cabin on the Trigania.
Oh?
He made a point of reminding me that we had met at a conference in my office back in 1943. Well, there was such a conference then, but I wasn't there. I'd been rushed to the Naval Hospital at Bethesda for an appendectomy.
He was trying all out to sell himself to you.
Yes. Lucky for us, he oversold himself.
Dave, this is one of the most daring schemes on record.
Yes, Peters. And now we've got about the most ticklish counter-spy job on record. Plenty of international ramifications that could blow up right in our face. We're going to have to work in complete secrecy.
Decide on any special modus operandi?
No, nothing special. We're flying right back to New York. We're going to dig until we find out what happened to the real Ramon Sierra.
Good evening, Mr. Sierra.
Huh?
Did you have a pleasant sleep?
Miss Marshall?
That's right, Miss Marshall.
But what are you doing in my cabin?
We're not in your cabin. We're alone, Mr. Sierra, in a cottage on the south shore of Long Island. We left the ship over 10 hours ago. We came here by special ambulance.
And it was no dream.
No dream, Mr. Sierra. Any more than this gun is a dream. Now, I know you'll be sensible and won't force me to shoot it prematurely.
Colonel Quinto, he has gone to Washington?
Yes. Colonel Quinto and you, Mr. Sierra, are now in Washington, thanks to none other than David Harding, the chief of the United States CounterSpies himself.
This insane scheme will never succeed.
It can't fail. You, Mr. Sierra, have already completed the first part of those very important talks with the State Department official, Mr. Johnson. And by this time tomorrow evening, our work here will be finished, and no one will be the wiser. Until, of course, it is much too late.
Peters in patrol car at Pier 33 to Harding, New York field office. Urgent. Peters to Harding.
Harding, go ahead, Peters.
Hello, Dave. I just went over the passenger list of the Trigania with the ship's purser. I've got something that might be a break in the case. Suggest you come down and talk to the purser yourself.
All right, Peters. I'm on my way there.
Well, Colonel Quinto, I would say we are well on our way to success.
Yes. And Douglas, you can stop with the impersonation as long as we are alone in the hotel room, eh?
All right, Kinder. But I've come to really enjoy the part, especially deceiving Harding.
Yeah, you've done very well.
Thanks.
A drink, Douglas.
Delighted.
Scotch, is it not?
Uh-huh. With soda. But light on the soda.
Here you are.
Thanks. Too bad Miss Marshall can't be here to enjoy this.
I am sure Miss Marshall is getting equal enjoyment out of her part of the job.
Yes, I suppose so. She's a rather peculiar woman. I don't think I could ever kill anyone in cold blood. She always seemed to get a thrill out of it. But everyone to his own taste, huh?
In our cause, Douglas, it is everyone to his own usefulness.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I forgot. Well, how about a toast, eh, Quinto? To tomorrow, and the final session of the conference.
And to tomorrow, and the phone call I shall make to Miss Marshall.
And that's the story, Mr. Harding. You see, sir, I offered to help Miss Marshall take the wheelchair down the gangplank, but she wouldn't allow me.
And this happened, Purser, after the other passengers debarked.
Oh, yes, sir. Quite a time after.
Would you please tell Mr. Harding the condition of Miss Marshall's patient?
All right, Mr. Peters. Well, Mr. Douglas looked rather, strange to me. He was slumped over in the wheelchair, motionless.
Miss Marshall told the purser that she'd given Mr. Douglas a sedative, Chief.
I see. Did you see Mr. Douglas' face?
Only part of it, sir. You see, his coat collar was up and his hat was pulled down.
Oh. Well, did you notice where they went when they got down onto the pier?
Luckily he did, Mr. Harding. There was an ambulance waiting for them, and they drove off immediately.
Oh?
I've already radioed our agents in this area to investigate all ambulance services.
Yeah, good. Now, one more thing, Purser. During the time he was aboard ship, did Mr. Douglas have any close acquaintances?
Well, sir, now that you ask, I do recall him being friendly with another passenger, Mr. Raymond Sierra.
Sierra, huh?
Yes, Mr. Harding, very friendly. I hope I've been some help.
You certainly have. Thank you very much. Let's go, Peters. New York Field Office, Harding speaking.
Peters, Dave. Braden and I just finished our check on Robert Douglas.
And?
Just as you figured, the name is a phony. No such person living at the address given in the ship's record. Braden was in touch with the passport division of the State Department.
Both Douglas and Miss Marshall's passports are not recorded. Is that it?
That's it, Chief. No doubt now that Douglas changed places with Mr. Sierra.
And none at all. Well, we've got Douglas under surveillance, but now the trick is to find Miss Marshall and her new patient.
Yeah, but where to start looking?
Well, get those reports from those ambulance services we're investigating.
And this, Mr. Sierra, is the amount of money the United States will furnish to your government for the purchase of defense equipment.
Senor Johnson, the Filipino Republic is everlastingly grateful for this great kindness.
Yes. Yes. You must be tired, Mr. Sierra. We've been at this conference table for over 7 hours.
Oh, no, senor. I am fine.
Well, we could finish the remainder of our business tomorrow morning.
Senor Johnson, I am anxious to finish tonight so I can return quickly to my people with the good news. I am sure you understand.
Yes, Mr. Sierra, I'm sure I understand fully. Well, then we'll go right on. We should be through by 8 o'clock if you have to make any plans.
8 o'clock?
Uh-huh.
I will call my aide, Colonel Quinto, at our hotel so he can make the necessary arrangements.
Harrison just phoned in, Dave. He located the ambulance.
Good.
Not so good.
Why? What's wrong?
The ambulance was not driven to the place noted on the service's record.
Well, what about the driver of the ambulance? Didn't Harrison check with him?
Harrison couldn't check with him, Dave. The driver was found this morning out in some woods on Long Island, dead, shot through the head.
Hello?
Miss Marshall, Colonel Quinto.
Oh, I've been waiting to hear from you.
Sierra is almost finished with his work here in Washington. You will take a plane and meet us in San Francisco tomorrow evening.
Then everything is all set?
everything.
What about my patient?
It is now 25 minutes of 8. Sierra will be through with the conference at exactly 8. And unless you hear from me to the contrary, at exactly 8 o'clock, you will put your patient out of his misery.
Communications Section, Washington, to Harding, New York Field Office. Blow alert on Sierra case. Stand by. Blow alert. Vital information coming through. Stand by.
Harding, Control Car S1, to all motor patrols in New York area. Disregard all previous orders and converge immediately on house at 56 Elm Drive, Glenmore, Long Island. Repeat, 56 Elm Drive, Glenmore, Long Island.
1 minute of 8, Mr. Sierra. You have exactly 1 more minute to live. Well, what's the matter with you? Aren't you afraid? You just sit there smiling.
I smile, Miss Marshall, because in the end I know I will win, and you and the others will lose.
We can't lose now. There's nothing to stop us.
There is always something. Someone to stop people like you.
For a man who's about to be shot to death, you seem very brave.
Death does not frighten me. I'm an old man. I have lived a full life.
Oh, no regrets, eh?
Only one.
And that?
That I will not be present when you and the others are brought to trial.
Your time is up, Mr. Sierra. Now we two say goodbye. Hello?
Put that gun down, Miss Marshall.
What?
Put it down.
Who is this?
You're too late now, Miss Marshall. Too late to kill Mr. Sierra.
What kind of a trick is this? Who's talking?
You have exactly 3 seconds to put that gun on the table.
Who are you? Why are you calling me?
Your time is up, Miss Marshall.
Oh, no, you can't trick me. I'll do what I have to
Then
do.
you'll be killed yourself by Mr. Harding.
Harding?
He's standing right behind you in the doorway.
You can't fool me. No one is in this cottage. No one knows I'm here. Harding could never find me.
That's where you're wrong, Miss Marshall.
What?
Look out, Peter!
The next shot is for keeps. Now you're going to do as you're told.
That voice on the phone.
That was one of my agents talking to you by radiophone from one of the patrol cars outside this house. We were playing for a few extra seconds to save Mr. Sierra.
I told her, Senor Harding, that she and the others would lose.
How did you ever find us here? What happened to Quinto and Douglas?
We had a tap on Quinto's hotel phone. While he was talking to you earlier, my agents were busy checking the address that went with this phone number.
Spakino and Douglas, they're waiting for you in Washington. We're arranging a very special kind of conference for all of you.
All right, Peters, you can take her out. I'll be along in a minute with Mr. Sierra.
Come on, let's go.
Senor Harding, it is good to see you again.
You too, Mr. Sierra. You've no idea how good.
Tune in every Friday, same time, same station, to CounterSpy. Listen next Friday for the exciting case of the carbon console.
When a broken pencil was fitted together 3,000 miles from CounterSpy headquarters, the matching pieces blew wide open one of the most sinister international intrigues on record. The full case history will be revealed next Friday in
Case of the Carbon Console on CounterSpy. Tonight's CounterSpy program originated in New York, was directed by Marks B. Loeb, dramatized by Edward J. Adamson, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer. CounterSpy is produced by Phillips H. Lord.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. The chimes are really excited about a big show. In fact, it is the big show, coming soon on NBC. It'll be an hour and a half every Sunday night, with Tallulah Bankhead as FemC and featuring such stars as Jimmy Durante, Fred Allen, and Groucho Marx. Sunday, November 5th. 5th.
Hey, man, how about we check in with Fibber, Magee, and Molly next? That sounds good to me.
The Pet Milk Program with Fibber, Magee, and Molly. The Thirst Evaporated Milk, Pet Milk, presents Fibber, Magee, and Molly with Bill Thompson, Gail Gordon, Arthur Q. Bryan, Dick LeGrand, Cliff Arquette, Ken Christie, Herb Vigran, and me, Harry Von Zell, pinch hitting for Harlow, home with a cold, Wilcox. The show is written by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie and directed by Max Hutto, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra.
Are you one of those people who can't get along in the morning until you've had a cup of coffee? I know exactly how you feel. Well, let me tell you something. That cup of coffee will taste extra good when you use Pet Milk in it. Of course, if you take your coffee black, that's different. But if you use cream, just try that next cup with Pet Milk instead. Maybe you didn't know it, but Pet Milk gives coffee a satisfying flavor that's hard to beat. That's because Pet Milk is good, sweet country milk concentrated to double richness, making it twice as rich in cream as ordinary milk. Naturally, then, it's just right for coffee. You get some Pet Milk at your grocer's tomorrow. Use it for coffee, for cooking, for all of your milk and cream needs. Remember, Pet Milk costs less than half as much as cream, less generally than ordinary bottled milk. Of all the different ways to carry on a feud, Mr. Magee of 79 Wistful Vista has probably the safest. He does his fighting in writing. In fact, he's working on a nasty letter right now as we join Fibber, Magee, and Molly.
And furthermore, Fred, you dirty chiseler, I still claim.
Well, how's the letter coming, dearie? Your pen running dry? You need another bottle of poison? I mean ink?
Just about finished, Molly, and I really poured it on this time. This letter will pin old Fred Nittany's ears back so far he can scratch his shoulder blades with them. Listen. Mr. Fred Nittany, Starved Rock, Illinois. Dear Fred, you rat.
Very concise.
Yeah. You think maybe I ought to start it, my dear Fred, you rat?
No. That's too formal.
That's what I thought.
After all, you two have known each other since you were in vaudeville together, you know.
Sure we have. I ain't got a friend in the world that I hate like I hate Fred Nittany. I've been sore at that chiseler since 1936. That's why every Valentine's Day we write and tell each other what rats we are.
Well, I'm not one to flout tradition, sweetheart. But in this case, if I had a good, heavy, two-handed flout about 3 feet long, I'd flout the daylights out of it.
Look, Molly, this is serious stuff with me. I worked hard on this letter. I worked from a dictionary, too, even. I hate that guy so much in this letter, I scare myself.
Well, it's probably mutual, I suppose.
No, it ain't either. He feels the same way about me. Did you see the letter that guy wrote me last Valentine's Day? Why, there's words in there that I still don't know what he called me.
Well, did you look them up?
They ain't in our dictionary.
Well, I think it's ridiculous for two grown men to carry a grudge for 15 years.
Well,
I thought you and Fred Nittany were bosom friends.
we was. I was the best friend he ever had. We went clean through vaudeville together.
You were clean when you finished, I know.
Why, when I remember how when we were broke, I always shared his last dollar with him, how I always bought gas for his 1922 Hupmobile. Every time he loaned it to me, so...
Well, now, what started this feud, anyhow? What are you two mad about?
You know, it's funny you should ask me that, Molly, because I've been trying to remember all day. I used to know, but I forgot.
Oh, for goodness sakes, if you don't even know what you're fighting
Well, what's
about.
the difference? It's the principle of the thing now. Besides, you've got to admit it must have been something pretty dirty to keep me mad this long. Just let me read you some more. I say here, Fred, you rat. I've been pretty busy lately, you rat. And I ain't had as much time to hate you as I wanted to, Fred, you dirty rat.
You've really been studying that dictionary, haven't you?
But I say, when you done, you rat, what you done to me, you rat, back in 36. I swore, you rat. Who's that rat? Who's that?
I don't know, but I hope it's the Pied Piper. Come in.
Oh, hi, old-timer.
Hello, Mr. Old-Timer.
Hello there, kid.
on your mail in, I'll put it in the hall here.
Okay.
Happy Valentine's Eve, kids.
Well, thank you, Mr. Oldtimer. You sending out Valentines this year?
Just one, daughter. Made it myself. It's for Bessie.
Now, how'd you ever meet Bessie anyhow, old-timer?
Oh, we met through an introduction at the wrestling matches, Johnny.
Oh?
The wrestling matches?
Yep. I'll never forget it, daughter. The announcer says, introducing in this corner, Meat Hook Mabel, the Milwaukee Monster. That was Bessie.
My gosh, love at first sight, huh?
Yep. I whistled at her. Bessie turned around and throwed me a wink. The other wrestler reached over and throwed me Bessie. Right into my lap.
That's how it all started, huh? Well, you know what they say, old-timer. Romance is like a busted spring in a sofa. It pops up when you least expect it. Well, never mind. Hey, are you going past the... You going past the mailbox when you leave here? Because mail this letter to that rat Fred Nittany for me, will you?
Glad to, son. I'm going to mail Bessie's Valentine here anyhow. Like to see it, daughter?
Oh, I'd love to.
I brung it. I got a red crepe paper and pasted on the white lace. Here it is. Pretty?
Yes. It's beautiful.
Gee whiz. A red paper football with a flat end.
That's a heart, Johnny.
Why, of course it is, Magee.
Oh, sure. I must have had it upside down. Or sideways. What's the harpoon sticking through it for? Bessie a fisherman?
Magee, that's an arrow.
An arrow what? Oh, an arrow.
I read a verse on it, too, daughter, if you'd like to hear it.
My gosh, are you a poet, too?
Son, come Valentine's Day, anybody's a poet that thinks he is. Stuff may not always rhyme, but if it's read by the right party, it's pure poetry.
Isn't that a sweet thought, Magee? Go on, read the verse for us, Mr. Oldtimer.
Well, it says to Bessie, roses are red, geraniums are pink. You think you're a beaut, but I think you're cute. Go on, kid.
Well, he's quite a character, isn't he, Magee? Here's the mail he brought in. I almost forgot.
Oh, yeah. Anything interesting?
Well, package for you. Oh, and one letter. It's from your friend Fred Rat, or Fred Nittany.
Oh, him. Read it to me, kiddo, will you?
Sure. Well, it says here, Dear Fibber.
Yeah?
My old pal and long-lost friend.
Wonder what he means by that.
I don't know. He says, I have been a fool, old pal.
He always was.
Fighting all these years with the best friend I ever had. I apologize, old friend, for this silly quarrel, old pal.
Hey, you sure that's from Fred Nittany? Let me see that letter. Oh, my gosh, there's money in it, too.
2 $1 bills. Oh. I was coming to that. He says, I'm returning the $2 I borrowed from you that started this silly quarrel and lost me the best friend.
That's it. That's what we were sore about. I remember now. Fred's suitcase was in hock, see? And I had to loan him $2 to get it out. And just because I was the guy that hawked it, he refused to pay me back. That started the whole thing. Gee whiz. Good old Fred finally admits he was wrong, huh?
There's more to the letter.
Oh?
He says, I worked some nightclubs in Havana lately, and I'm fat.
Oh.
I had them Cubans send you a box of special Coronas.
Cigars. Is that what that box is? A box of... Oh, boy.
And, he says, please accept this peace offering, old pal, and let us never quarrel again. Your everlasting, newfound old friend, Fred Nittany, your pal. Well.
Gee whiz. Imagine good old Fred, the best friend I ever had. Paying me back the $2 and sending me cigars. Oh, my gosh. I got to stop that letter of mine.
I told you not to write the letter. The old timer's gone. He's had time to mail it by now.
Oh, I got to catch you. My gosh, you want old Fred to think I'm a sorehead? You want him to think I'm a guy that carries a grudge?
Oh, how could he get that impression?
What?
My goodness.
Hey, old timer, wait. Don't mail that letter. Hey, don't drop that letter.
Billy Mills and the orchestra in You're Just in Love.
And just as I got here, Molly, he stuffs the letter in this mailbox and slams the lid.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's the luck anyhow. If Fred gets that letter now, maybe he won't even want my friendship, Molly. He's liable to think I don't like him.
Oh, he can't be that thin-skinned, surely.
Well,
just a few hundred names and 6 pages of invitations to drop dead.
Tip this mailbox lid. Maybe I can run my hand in there and...
All right, but be careful now, dear.
If I can get my hand in... Ah, that's better.
Can you reach it? Because...
I can feel something in there, but... let me get the other arm in. Doggone box is too deep to... Uh-oh.
What's the matter? Magee, what's wrong?
My arm's caught. It's stuck. Both arms.
Oh, no.
Hey, Molly, I'm caught. Up to the shoulders. I can't get my arms out of here. Help me, Molly.
Heavenly days. Now, take it easy, dearie. Be calm. Don't skin your arms up. Maybe we can work them out one at a time. Wait, there's Dr. Gamble. Doctor! Dr. Gamble, over here.
Oh, I don't need a doctor. I need a mechanic. Get me a mechanic. Oh, hi, Doc.
Hello, Doctor. I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you, Molly. Well. This time we have our hands caught in a mailbox, I see.
Never mind the diagnosis, fatback. How do I get loose?
How'd you get caught?
Well, he mailed a letter, Doctor, and now he wants it back. It's to an old friend.
Fred Nittany from Starved Rock, Illinois.
Yes, telling him how Magee hates him, but Fred fouled up the whole operation by sending him a present. Magee likes him now. He wants to tear up the letter.
Well, come on, Doc. Don't stand there, you big rum-dum. Get me out of here. Come on, satchel head. Get me loose.
You'll be all right, spout mouth. Take it easy.
Okay.
Let's see now. How did I get the bowling ball off your thumb that time?
Oil, Doctor.
Oh, yes. How did I get the sidewalk grating off his wrist last year?
And sawed it off.
And the time you got your nose caught in the ringer?
Took the rollers off. The time he got his feet stuck in the new asphalt paving, we used an air hammer to
Well, this should be fairly simple. Let's get down to the house and see what tools we can find, Molly. Maybe if we loosen the lid a little and grease his arm.
All right, Doctor. We'll hurry, dearie. Now, you just relax.
Yes, don't go away, Magee.
Okay, I'll wait. I don't know how I get into these situations like this, but by George, if...
Situations like what, sir?
Huh? Oh, I didn't hear you coming, Bud. I kind of got my hands caught in this mailbox.
Really? That is an odd situation, isn't it?
Yeah, I mailed a letter to a friend of mine and then decided I shouldn't ought to have done it, so I reached in the box for it and zingo, stuck. It's silly, ain't it?
Yes, indeed. That is a ridiculous predicament. Now, let me see if I can work your hands loose.
No. They're really in there, aren't they? Yeah, I need a crowbar or something. Are you a mechanic by any chance?
No, sir. I'm a pickpocket by trade, sir.
Where do you carry your wallet?
In my left hip pocket. You're a what?
The left hip pocket?
Yeah. Hey.
Ah, there it is. A nice fat one.
Hey, cut that out. Hey, come back here. Give me my wallet.
Sorry, I can't stay in chat, sir.
Hey.
$3, $3.25.
Hey, help!
That's government property.
Well, gee whiz. Hey, where's Doc?
Well, he got an emergency call from the hospital. But now, don't you worry. Mother will get your hands loose, I hope. How do you work this crowbar?
That's a monkey wrench, Molly. The crowbar's that thing.
Oh, there you are, Mrs. Magee. And Mr. Magee.
Why, yes, we are, sir.
Harlow Wilcox asked me to stop by your house, so I did, but you weren't home.
Well, now, that's odd, Bud. We were there a couple of hours ago. We must have just stepped out.
You know, I figured that out. Well, we met one time, you know. I'm Harry Von Zell.
I thought you looked familiar. Nice to see you, Mr. Von Zell.
Oh, sure, I remember. I'd shake hands with you, Harry, but I got both hands caught in a mailbox.
Let's see. Well, I'll be darned. You have at that, have I? Well, that's what Harlow said. Anything for a laugh with this Magee, Harlow said. How did you ever figure this one out, pal?
Well, it wasn't easy, Harry, believe me. Where's Mr. Wilcox? At home?
Yes, he's kind of knocked out with a cold, Mrs. Magee. He asked me to bring you two a message, but, well, frankly, I forgot what it was. Have you any idea what...
Maybe we can give you a clue, Bud. Clue. Was it anything about the P-E-T?
P-E-T. Oh, Pet, yes, that's it. Pet,
Milk?
Ah, milk. Mm-hmm. Pet evaporated milk. Wonderful stuff, Harlow said. Well, you know what Harlow told me? Confidentially, of course.
Oh?
He told me that the Pet people just take good, sweet, whole milk and evaporate it till it's double rich.
He wants that kept confidential?
That's the feeling I got talking to him, yes. Something else. Harlow told me that when you use Pet milk in cooking, you get all the good milk minerals and that rich, delicious flavor besides. And vitamin D, too.
You know, I hate to disillusion you, but that's not as big a secret as you seem to
Oh,
think.
and look. Pet milk actually costs less money than any other form of milk, Harlow said. Imagine that. Why, if the general public ever found that out, if they found out that Pet milk actually saves them money, well, you can see what would happen. There might not be enough of it for people like us, friends of Harlow's, you know.
Yeah. Look, Harry boy.
Yes, pal? Oh, I nearly forgot there was one other thing I was supposed to say to you.
What's that, Harry?
So long, kid.
Oh, so long.
Done it. I got my hands in here. Why can't I get...
Why don't we just forget the letter and go home?
Huh?
Oh, no, we can't do that.
Hey, look who's coming, Ole. He's handy with tools. He ought to be able to...
Hello, Ole. Are we glad to see you?
Yeah.
Well, hello, missus. Hello, Magee. I don't stop to visit with you this time. I got to get to work at the Elks Club.
Hey.
Now, Ole, now, please, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, you got trouble, missus? I shouldn't have to ask that when I see who's with you.
He's got his hands caught, Ole, in the mailbox.
Yeah, trying to get a letter I mailed out.
Mailed out there.
Out of the mailbox.
Whose letter is it?
It's mine.
Well, then go home and wait for it, Magee. If you got a letter coming, you wait. It comes. I got to get the...
No, Ole, it isn't addressed to him.
No, it's a letter I wrote to my best friend.
Sure.
Telling him how I hate him. Only I shouldn't have wrote it because, after all, we went through together, I and him. Ours is the type of friendship that the kind of a letter I wrote is liable that if he gets it to be right back where we started.
Well, I figured that out later, Magee. Hand me the crowbar, missus. You know, mailboxes is old stuff to me. I used to was a mailman in Sweden.
You were, Ole?
Oh, sure. And we deliver mail in all kinds of weather. Sometimes it rains big in Sweden, you know. But we put on rubber clothes, you know, them...
Raincoats?
No, it don't rain coats. It just rains rain. I used to drive a little cart, you know, to deliver the mail. I have it hitched to those little mules, you know, with the horns like Santa Claus used to do.
Reindeer?
No, it just rains rain in Sweden. But we could always tell when the rain is coming, though, you see. They have big birds in the trees that squawk and make noise, you know.
Rain crows?
No, it just...
Yeah, I know. Rain. staying in Sweden. Look, Ole, get me loose from here, will you? Now, don't pinch my hands now. Now, lift up one.
Now, look, don't be a baby. One pull while I hold this off here.
Heavenly days, what's this?
Hey, what goes on?
All right, don't move, you guys. You're under arrest.
What?
Uh-oh, cop.
Hey, now, wait a
Pipe
minute.
down, you, and get your hand out of that mailbox.
Get my hand out, he said.
His hand is stuck. Now, look, officer, he was only trying to get a letter back out of here.
Yeah.
Sure. And you were helping him.
Of course I was, you big Lugan.
Yeah, and what were you doing, mister?
Me? Oh, I get nothing to do with it, officer. I'm just donating my time. I just...
The King's Men sings so long. I went to your family and asked them for you. They all said, take her, please do. She can't cook or sew and she won't scrub your floor. So I put on my hat and walked out of the door, saying, so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. For a long time since I've been home, and I gotta be drifting along. My telephone rang and it jumped off the wall. That was a preacher making a call. He said, we're waiting to tie the knot. Oh, you're getting married, believe it or not. The church was jammed, the church was packed. The pews were so crowded from front to the back. 1,000 friends waited to kiss the bride. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But I was so anxious I rushed her outside, saying, so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I gotta be drifting along. Gotta get away, gotta get away, gotta get away, gotta get away. So
You took your good old sweet time about getting here, Latrivia. We've been sitting in this post office for 2 hours.
Now, please, Magee, quiet a minute.
Okay.
What's this all about, Inspector? Well, they were apparently trying to rob a mailbox, Mr. Mayor.
That's ridiculous.
They claim to know you.
I'll tell it, Inspector. I'll tell it. I've told this story 8 times already. I know it by heart.
Well, go ahead. I'm a little sick of hearing it myself.
He's sick of it. Look, I got work to do.
Now, look, Latrivia, it's very simple. It's an open and shut case.
Yes, he opened the mailbox, put his hand in it, and shut it.
Exactly. I mailed a letter, then I changed my mind. I didn't want it mailed, so I was trying to get my letter back out of the mailbox.
And I was trying to get my husband back out of the mailbox.
I see. And you, Ole?
You know, Mr. Owner, the more I think about it, the more I wonder what the Sam hell I was doing here.
Well, Inspector, these people are all friends of mine. Heaven help me. I can at least assure you that they're perfectly honest.
Why, certainly. My gosh, it's possible to be a friend of Latrivia's and still be honest. Ain't it, Latrivia?
Yes. Very nicely put, Magee. You're sweet. Well, your say-so's good enough for me on these people, Mr. Mayor. Hand me the letter, Miss Egan. Thank you. Is this the letter you wanted, Magee?
That's it. Give me it, boy.
Don't grab. Just sign these affidavits here, and it's yours.
Oh, thank you, Inspector. I know it was a silly thing to do, but...
There you are. Give me that letter. Boy, am I glad to get my hands on this baby. This saves a lifelong friendship for me, Latriv.
I'm so happy for you.
I'll tear this letter into a minute. Hey, wait a minute.
Now what?
This stamp has been canceled.
You...
They got no right to cancel the stamp. They got no right because they didn't deliver the letter.
What?
Oh, Magee, now don't start...
According to the postal law, Molly, this letter can go all the way to Fred Nittany for 3 cents. But it ain't going to Fred Nittany. I'm tearing it up. So according to the law, I got to...
Magee, as you know, I'm an attorney. May I give you some good, sound legal advice, free of charge?
Why, sure, Latriv. What's your advice?
Go home!
Okay, come on, Molly.
to get home, Magee.
Yeah, me too, kiddo. But it was worth the trouble, though. Keep that nasty letter from going out to good old Fred.
Well, I'm glad that silly mess is over.
Yeah, me too.
The idea of two grown men writing insulting letters to each other over a foolish little $2 loan.
Well, that's all behind us now, Tootsie. Any guy that's man enough to admit that I'm right, when I probably ain't, sends me a box of 2-bit cigars to prove it. That's a friendship that's bound to last.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that box of cigars, baby. Straight from Havana, Cuba.
They do look pretty.
Yes, sir.
If they smell as good as they look. What's the name say? Guy Fawkes Coronas.
Yeah, some imported brand, I guess. Fred knows I like Coronas.
Who is Guy Fawkes? That's a name from history, isn't it?
I think so. Hand me a match, will you? Thanks.
Was it Guy Fawkes who brought tobacco to England?
No, that was an Irishman. An Irish Duke. Sir Walter Riley. Get that aroma,
Well,
kiddo.
it does smell good.
Imagine me being sore at the best friend I ever had. Good old Fred Nittany. I'll never say another unkind word about that guy as long...
Hey, it exploded. A loaded cigar.
Why, that dirty rat. Hand me my fountain pen. Give me some paper. Dear Fred, you dirty rat.
Fibber and Molly return in a moment. You often hear people say, it costs a lot to raise a baby. But remember this, it costs less to raise a baby on pet evaporated milk. That's true because pet milk costs less generally than any other form of milk. Yet no milk is more beneficial to babies. In pet milk, you can be sure that your baby gets the milk minerals and vitamin D needed for building sound teeth and bones and for making sure, steady growth. And pet milk, the first evaporated milk, is always safe. Always easy for baby to digest, and always the same uniform richness. For years, doctors have recommended pet milk for babies who need to have milk from a bottle. Now ask your doctor about pet milk for your baby.
And Fred, you dirty rat, I got a great poltroon to poke you right in the nose. And furthermore...
Wait a minute. A great what?
Poltroon. English word.
I know, but I don't think it
I got the dictionary right here, Tootsie. Take a look. It says poltroon, a craven. C-R-A-V-E-N. So, I got a great poltroon to poke that guy right in the...
No, Magee.
No? Oh, well. Good night.
Good night, all.
The first evaporated milk, pet milk, brings you Fibber, McGee, and Molly each week at this time. Be with us again next Tuesday night, won't you? Almost everyone has a relative who is somewhat of a problem because he isn't like the rest of the family. And next Saturday morning, you're going to hear about Sally Carter's problem relative in Pet Milk's Story of the Week on the Mary Lee Taylor program. Be sure to tune in for Uncle Charlie. And along with this wonderful story, you'll hear the recipe for a mighty wonderful dessert, Mary Lee Taylor's Cherry Cream Pie. It's just about the most popular dessert ever to come from the Pet Milk Kitchen, so don't miss it. Next Saturday morning, turn your dial to NBC for Pet Milk's Mary Lee Taylor.
Tomorrow, laugh with Groucho. Now, a mystery in Big Town on NBC.
Well, Silver, wait those daring days of yesteryear. Well, the Lone Ranger up next.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. faithful Indian companion Tonto, the masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the western United States. His strength and courage were always on the side of right against might. No man could match his daring and resourcefulness. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days when the West was young, and the Lone Ranger was fighting the greatest battle of his entire career. Tonto and Arizona Lawson were standing in the living room of the Graham Ranch house. Graham had left the room for a moment, and they watched him curiously as he returned with a small leather sack in either hand.
It's none of my business, maybe, Graham, but would you mind telling us what you're up to?
Nothing that'll make you angry, I hope. Those are yours.
Huh?
One for you and one for Tonto.
Me no savvy.
Each of those sacks contains $1,000 in gold. Take them. You've earned it.
Oh, now, look, Graham, there's no...
Don't refuse it, Arizona. If I thought you'd accept, I'd offer you 10 times that amount. I can afford it, and what the pair of you done for this district is worth 100 times as much. When you arrived at Spanish Flats, a dozen outlaw gangs held the territory in absolute fear. Not even the law dared to move against them. Now it's a different story. Every one of those men is dead or in jail. Honest people can go about their business as they always should have done. I helped a little, but the greatest credit should go to you and Tonto and the Lone Ranger, wherever he is.
Graham, you don't get it.
Well, what's wrong?
You know the Lone Ranger don't ever take cash, don't you?
Of course. But I'm not offering him any.
Maybe not, but it amounts to the same thing.
I still think...
wait. You see, it's like this. Back when we thought the masked man had been done for, I offered to help Tonto the best I could. Of course, I ain't no way to substitute for the Lone Ranger, but it was his work I meant to carry on. The way it turned out, he done most of it, even if we ain't laid eyes on him. But at least I was trying. So now if I took pay for the little I'd done, well, I just feel kind of mean and cheap and ornery. And I know Tonto would feel the same.
That right, Tonto?
Well,
then I apologize. I meant well, but I see where I had you sized up wrong. Oh, but at any rate, you'll let me tell you how grateful I am, won't you?
Nope.
Oh, but now listen.
Nope, Graham. Not till we finished our job.
But you have. But I tell you...
Forgot the gent behind all them crooks, have you, Graham?
You intend to get him?
We get him.
But, well, you can't. Well, the idea's preposterous.
Why?
You don't know who the man is. No one does.
That's right.
Then how do you expect
Graham, you should know what the masked man always says. When you start a job, don't quit until you've done it right. Well, if we quit now, our job wouldn't be more than half done.
The man hasn't any power with those gangs broken up.
He could organize again some other time.
The law doesn't know his identity. His own men didn't know. He made contact with them by means of a go-between. We don't know who that go-between was. We have absolutely no clue that could possibly lead us to him.
That's wrong.
You mean you have? But I didn't know this. Why didn't you tell me?
Well, we didn't have enough to go on.
But you have now?
We expect to have.
Well, I don't understand.
Graham, I'm sorry we had to mention it at all. We didn't mean to. Wouldn't have if we hadn't gotten to this argument.
But don't you
wait
see...
a minute. Tonto said we had a clue. Well, in a manner of speaking, we have. But it ain't enough yet. And there's some other information we've got to get a hold of before we can act.
What other information?
Well, Graham, you're asking me something I don't know myself.
It'll tell who the man's name is?
Nope.
Oh.
But it'll show us how to go about learning his name, Graham. And I can tell you this. When the time comes to find out, you won't be left out in the cold. We're going to need your help.
It was 2 days later that Graham and Sheriff Wicks of Spanish Flats rode side by side across country. The rancher was speaking earnestly to the lawman.
Sheriff, I know Arizona and Tonto have something up their sleeves.
From what you said, Graham, they must have.
They've got a lead on this fellow who first organized the outlaws we've been fighting.
Sounds like it.
When they left the other day, I followed them away.
Yeah?
And that's what made me suspect Boylan.
What do you mean?
They rode to Boylan's ranch. Not openly, Sheriff. Secretly. I noticed they took a great deal of pains to keep anyone on the place from discovering them. I couldn't do more at the time because, after all, if they don't want to confide in me now, it's not my place to force their hand.
I've noticed them two gents usually savvy what they're about.
I'm sure they do this time.
If they suspicion Boylan, you mean?
Yes.
I don't know but what you're right.
Sheriff, I'm certain I am. Look at what's going on. For the past 2 weeks, Boylan has been disposing of his property as fast as possible.
Yeah?
Nothing suspicious in that, of course. Unless you realize that Boylan may be the man we want, and now that his gangs are finished, he's clearing out.
And then them guards are here.
Exactly. No one can get near his ranch house without permission in advance.
Of course, he always has been a sort of peculiar old duck. Never made friends.
Doesn't that fit in, too? Wouldn't a man in that position naturally avoid all contacts that might accidentally reveal his game?
Uh-huh, reckon he might.
Wouldn't he avoid making friends? Wouldn't he deliberately discourage any visitors who might arrive at awkward times?
It all fits in, don't it?
Mark my words, Sheriff. Tonto in Arizona knows something about that man. They aren't spying on him just to pass the time.
Uh-huh. Only thing is...
Well?
Maybe we ought to leave all this to them. Maybe we shouldn't butt in. If Boylan's crooked, they'll get a lot further proving it than I will.
Perhaps. But on the other hand, you may be able to give them valuable aid.
How?
Why? Because you're the law. You can openly demand information they could only gather indirectly. For instance, why is he so anxious to sell out?
You mean when we get there I should ask him that?
Certainly.
But if he's crooked, he'll just lie about it.
And if he does lie about it, we'll probably know it.
Yeah, that's so.
Hold it. Whoa, boy. Whoa. Whoa there. Whoa.
What's the matter?
Oh, we're almost there. You can see his place through these trees.
Where are them guards?
There are 2 of them in front of the house. Yeah. And there's another near the corrals.
What do you think, Graham? Think we ought to ride right up and make them let us by?
Because of the star you're wearing? That means about as much to those gun hands as a bouquet of daisies. No, we're leaving our horses here. There's a side door. These trees will give us cover until we're almost there. They'll hide our horses. Come on.
Well...
Now, don't be a fool, Sheriff. We'll never see Boylan if we let those guards see us. Now, do what I say.
All right, go ahead. I'm with you.
This way. Wait.
I don't see anybody now.
I think the coast's clear. That's the door, right there. Let's hope it isn't locked.
What are you going to do?
Make it before anyone shows up. Come along now. Hurry. Now, keep your fingers crossed.
What?
Sit right where you are, Boylan.
We aim to ask you some questions.
What do you mean, breaking into my home like this?
Let me do the talking, Sheriff. If you didn't have guards stationed outside, Boylan, it wouldn't be necessary to break in here.
Fine guards they are. I'll fire every one of them.
Later, you can do what you please. Right now, we're after information.
What information?
The reason for those guards. Your reason for attempting to sell out.
Well, that happens to be none of your business.
We're making it our business.
Yeah?
And you'll answer, Boylan, or find yourself in jail.
So, that's it, eh? Well, gentlemen, I'll tell you. About the guards, I refuse to answer. For my one to sell, well, you can know it if you wish.
Go on, talk.
No, there's no need. I have some papers here that'll explain the matter for me.
What papers?
Right here in my desk. Now, if you'll just glance at these. Gentlemen, reach for the ceiling.
Why, you tricked us. Graham, he opened that drawer just to get at that gun.
I did, and now you listen to me. You have exactly 30 seconds to get out of this house, or I'll blow the pair of you right square into the middle of next week.
Graham, before we come here, I sort of felt like we should have left all this to Tonto in Arizona to handle. But after what that skunk just did to us, doggone if I don't send him to jail myself. Come on, let's get to town and figure this out. Get up. Come on. Get up, Berta. Get up.
Well, Sheriff, just what do you expect to do about Boylan?
Graham, I'll tell you.
You got something in mind?
I've learned a few things this last month or so.
Yeah?
I've been watching Tonto in Arizona. I've seen how that mask fellow works, even if I ain't seen him. I've learned that sometimes it pays a heap better to use your head instead of your guns.
Which means exactly what?
I'm going to use my head.
How?
I figure Boylan's guilty.
And so do I.
But there ain't no use fetching him into town and trying to make him answer questions. even if we get enough fellers together to ride out to his place and make him come.
No, I don't suppose there would be.
So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to trick that hombre.
That's what I asked you. How?
You game to back me up?
If you don't mind explaining what you're thinking of.
Well, what was the one weak point in Boylan's scheme?
Well, I don't know.
The fella he used to take orders to the crooks working for him, wasn't it?
Well, I suppose so.
Of course it's so. Nobody in them gangs could tell who the big boss was, because they never seen him nor heard his name mentioned. All they knew was that he told them what to do and how to do it, and afterwards collected his share of the loot.
Yeah.
But the fellow that carried the orders for him had to know who Boylan was. Out of everybody in the county, he's the one man could stand up and point a finger at Boylan and say he was guilty.
Why, of course.
Well, and maybe now you see what I've got in mind.
I'm afraid I still don't.
Why, it's as plain as the nose on your face, Graham. I'm going to try a scheme like the masked man used once in a while. I'm going to spread the word that Boylan's go-between has let me know he's willing to tell who hired him in exchange for my promise to let him off.
You know who this go-between is?
No, but...
Well, if you don't, I'm afraid the plan isn't very practical.
Why not? Boylan don't know I ain't acquainted with the fella, does he?
No.
Then how can he know I ain't telling the truth?
And if he believes you?
Then I'll use the next part of my scheme. I'll act like I'm going to meet that gent somewheres in the hills to get his story. I'll see to it Boylan finds out when and where I'm going to meet that feller. Boylan will have to try to shut his mouth. And when he does that, he'll give himself away.
Oh. And who are you going to use to pretend to be the man you're meeting?
Oh, most any feller will do. Boylan don't have to get a look at him. His conscience will fix that up all right.
I'm not sure this will work.
Why not?
Well, I don't...
Oh, it'll work, all right.
Well, who's that?
It worked.
Tonto.
Arizona.
We heard you two gents talking through that there open window. You ought to be more careful.
Well,
And if you're wondering why we're so sure your scheme will work, Sheriff, I'll tell you. Me and Tonto will spread that story you was talking about.
But how?
And we won't have to stretch the truth none.
Huh?
Because we really know who was carrying orders from the boss to them crooks. We just found out today.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. In accordance with the sheriff's plan, Arizona went to the cafe and talked just enough to create the impression he desired.
No, boys, I can't say anything more. Not yet. I don't know his name for sure. But if I was to make a guess, I'd say he was a big rancher in these parts. Yep. He's mighty clever, and he's mighty careful, too. Maybe he realizes he's made a mistake. It wouldn't surprise me none if he tried to clear out. But he's waited too long. After I've talked with a certain hombre tonight, we'll know his name. And the sheriff will have all the evidence he needs to hang him. Adios.
Arizona left the cafe and met Tonto outside of town. Together, they rode to the ridge of a hill not far away, and there the Indian built a fire. The column of smoke was rising straight in the air. He prepared to send a message.
Just say that everything's set, and all we need is the word to go ahead.
Tonto do it.
We'll have to stay here till we get a reply. Is that all?
Tonto say what you tell him.
Better do it again. Keep on repeating until you're
You
sure.
wait.
What's up?
You look. Hill to north.
Smoke. A signal.
That's right.
What's it say?
Night. Line. Cabin. South.
Tonight. Line cabin south. South of where? There's plenty of line cabins south of here.
Lone Bear Canyon.
That's all we need, Tonto. Tonight. There's been no change, and south of Lame Bear Canyon.
You ride to Graham?
Just as soon as it gets dark. The sheriff and his posse will be waiting there. Quiet, boy. Down, Wolf. You stay here.
Is that you, Arizona?
Yep. Everybody here?
They're waiting. Come in.
Hi, Sheriff.
Into the cafe, Arizona?
Uh-huh, Sheriff. And there ain't a one of them that ain't talking about us locating Boylan's messenger.
They don't know Boylan's the man we're after, do they?
Shucks, no, Graham. I just said that because we all know he's the fella.
Oh.
But what about Boylan himself, Arizona?
Tonto took care of that.
You know he did?
Sure. I met him at the Grove, and he told me. He talked to one of Boylan's gun hands. From the excitement around the place afterwards, Tonto says that gun hand must have run right to Boylan then and there and repeated the whole thing.
Good.
It won't be hard for Boylan to learn you come here to Graham's place, Sheriff. And he ain't going to take no chance you're going to meet that army that was working for him without his being close by.
Think he's somewhere near now?
Wouldn't surprise me none.
He'll follow us?
Have to, won't he? That is, if he figures on finding where the fella's hiding out and finishing him off before he can talk to us.
Yeah.
What do we do now, Arizona?
Got your horses ready?
Yeah, we got
And I'd say we better get started. We're to meet that fella at 1. Before that, we've got to meet Tonto.
Where?
He'll still be waiting at the Grove.
And where do we meet that messenger?
Know that line cabin south of Lame Bear Canyon?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Come on, we better get going. There's Tonto. Hey.
Been watching the trail, Tonto?
Me watch it.
Everything all right?
Fella just ride by.
What's that?
Him, Boylan.
Rode by here?
You sure, Tonto? You sure you didn't mistake somebody else for him in the dark?
Me know fella all right.
But which way did he come from?
Come from ranch.
My ranch?
Fellas, I told you. I told you that skunk would be somewhere close. Tonto, when he went past here, which way was he heading?
Him go that way.
Toward Lame Bear Canyon.
Figures to get there first.
And if he does?
If he does and finds that gent we're meeting up with first, we might as well stay to home. We'll be wasting our time.
You mean?
I mean Boylan will drill him on the spot. Gents, we've got to make tracks.
Right.
Let's get going. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up.
How much farther, Arizona?
I'm over 2 miles.
We ain't riding right up to that cabin, are we?
Oh, there's some cover just this side. That's where we'll stop. Get up. Get along.
Get up.
Here we are. Pull up. Pull, fella. Pull there.
There's the cabin. Leave the horses here.
Yeah. Wolf. You're going to have to keep still. And don't you budge from this spot neither. Right now, you ain't wanted, savvy? You'd better.
Now what?
Now to see if that gent's here to meet us. And if he is, to see if Boylan got to him first.
We walk right in?
Wasn't that easy to fix this meeting, Sheriff. That gent's too suspicious. He said if we walked up to that cabin without signaling to him first, he'd blast the daylights out of us.
Signal him?
Yeah. Tonto knows what to do. Go ahead, Tonto.
That it?
Yeah.
How we answer?
Wait. There. That's him.
I seen somebody light a match in there.
That's to let us know he heard us and everything's all right.
Then we beat Boylan to it.
Seems as if. Now, look. I'm going to tell you fellas what to do. And you see to it you do it, or maybe there'll be the dickens to pay.
Go ahead.
I'm going in there.
And the rest of us?
You fellas got to keep watch for Boylan. If he ain't here now, he will be. And we don't know for sure he ain't here already and hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we want him to make a try at that fellow in the cabin. That'll cinch the case again him. But we don't want that try of his to work.
That's right.
If it does and Boylan gets away afterwards, it means every one of us is going to be in danger. He ain't going to let us live as long as he thinks there's any kind of a chance at all that we know who he is.
You're right.
Now, Tonto, when I start for the cabin, you go over and take up your position by that clump of bushes there. Keep out of sight, and keep your eyes peeled for anything that moves in your territory.
Tonto do it.
Graham, you get over by them rocks. There's plenty of shadow there. You wouldn't be seen.
All right, Arizona.
The rest of you fellas spread around. And, Sheriff, you better stay right here. That means when Boylan makes his try, at least one of you is going to have him in sight.
All right.
Well, here goes. Let's pray for luck, fellas. If this works, we're going to catch us the biggest crook this part of the West ever seen.
Who's in?
It's me, Arizona.
Just a second.
All right, fella. Walk in with your hands in the air.
I ain't going to try nothing.
I don't trust you or nobody. You armed?
Sure.
Yeah, I see you. Just carrying that one gun?
Search me if you think I got any hid away.
I will. Only I'll take this one first. Now stand still.
Go ahead.
Don't find nothing.
Said you wouldn't.
All right, state your terms and make it run.
You know what you're offered. Told you when we arranged this meeting.
I want any charges again me forgot.
They will be.
If I tell you the name of the gent I was working for, I want protection afterwards.
You'll get it.
How do I know that?
Sheriff's outside now. I'll call him if you want me to. He'll tell you the same himself.
Never mind. I can wait.
All right, then. How about it?
Hmm?
Name him. You know what I'm here for. Name the skunk that hired you. Name that coyote that's been running all them gangs.
All right, fellas.
Someone fired from outside.
Arizona!
What the...
Arizona! That was Boylan. I saw him when he got away.
Boylan fired those shots, and I can swear to
I
it.
told you to be
Help the sheriff and Tonto find him before he escapes.
But why didn't
Go
you...
on, Arizona, hurry.
Now look over this way.
Look everywhere. Don't let him reach his horse.
Sheriff, Tonto, which way this fella going?
What? Graham? No, don't move, Stubb. You stop where you are.
Boss,
You were going to turn me in.
No, honest, I wasn't Graham. Wait.
You were going to tell Arizona I was the man behind those gangs.
No, please, shut up.
Hear them outside, Stubb? They're looking for Boylan. I don't know what he's got to do with this. But anyhow, they're out there trying to find him. They've forgotten all about you and me.
Boss, what are you going to do?
What do you think, Stubb?
But I never...
Didn't I tell you if you worked with me on this, you'd never have to worry about money again as long as you lived?
But I did.
Everything was going fine. We made fools out of Tonto in Arizona. I let them think I was working with them because I wanted law and order in the county. And they didn't realize for one moment they were working for me.
But, boss,
they
you don't...
didn't even guess it was me who was turning in my own men. They didn't even suspect I wanted those men jailed and hanged so I could retire in safety.
I tell you...
And then you had to turn yellow and try to save your own worthless hide by telling them who I am.
Boss, I swear I wasn't going to tell him a thing.
And what are you doing here? Why did you arrange to meet them?
I didn't.
Don't tell me that. You weren't here by accident.
Boss, won't you give me a chance to explain? Won't you let me tell just what happened?
Sure, you can tell your story.
Oh.
To Red Kemp and Pawnee Pete and all the others.
They've been hanged.
Exactly. I see that you understand.
No. Oh, no, put down that gun, boss. Don't aim it at me. No,
Don't
please,
cry,
wait.
Stubb. You took your chance and lost.
I tell you,
Now he's left.
Reach the pick of that gun, Graham, and I'll let you have it.
A Lone Ranger. No, it isn't true. I can't believe it.
It's true, all right, Graham. And he knew all the time that you was a skunk behind them gangs had been keeping yourself secret.
You had to be the man, Graham, because when I first arrived in this section, your men made an attack on my life. And you were the only person outside of Tonto in Arizona and knew I was around. You called us in to round up those outlaws for exactly the reason you just mentioned to Stubb. You planned to make us your tools to rid yourself of the organization for which you had no further use.
Why, you...
But I played your own game, Graham. I let you betray your men when I stayed out of sight. As long as you turned them over to the law, you were doing what I wanted. Once they'd all been captured, however, you were finished, whether you knew it or not.
Graham, the masked man arranged this whole scheme. Me and Tonto and Arizona and Boylan was all in it. We let you think we suspicion Boylan so that you'd figure you could drill Stubb to keep his mouth shut. And Boylan would take the blame.
You win.
I thought you'd see it that way, Graham. You're too smart to fight when you know you're beaten.
And I think I knew from the first you'd be too much for me. When I called you here, I didn't plan your death.
I guessed that.
When I met you, I knew if I were to be safe, you had to die.
But your attempted murder failed.
We've got every crook that was in this county. And the man that bossed them to boot.
You'll hang, Graham.
And once and for all, we'll have peace along the Rio. Thanks to the masked man.
Gentlemen, go!
The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger, Incorporated.
Hunt the biggest of all game with the Green Hornet and Cato coming up next.
Good evening. It's time once again to return to those exciting premiere days of radio as KRLD presents the thrilling adventures of the Green Hornet.
The Green Hornet. He hunts the biggest of all game, public enemies who try to destroy our America. Cato, Britt Reed, daring young publisher, matches wits with the underworld, risking his life that criminals and racketeers within the law may feel its weight by the sting of the Green Hornet. Ride with Britt Reed in the thrilling adventure Escape for Revenge. The Green Hornet strikes again.
We'll begin tonight's exciting story in just a moment.
Well, Marcia, it's your decision. Do we buy the Centennial home or do we go to Europe this summer?
I want to do both.
Oh, come on now. Be realistic. We can't afford it.
Making money. Centennial Homes, the quality home builder, is proudly offering 99% financing on all completed homes in 3 master planned communities. The Lakewood North community of Louisville, the Stone Ridge community of Arlington, and the Shenandoah Valley community of Duncanville. This unique financing program lets you buy a $30,000 Centennial home for $300 total down payment. Check Sunday's Times-Herald for details.
I want to do both.
Okay, you win. We'll sign the contract today, and tomorrow we apply for passports, okay?
Okay.
Centennial's 1% down payment plan is based on an 8.5 annual percentage conventional rate over 365 equal payments. Homes range in price from $21,000 to $32,000. For more information on the Stone Ridge community, ideally located in the Mid-Cities area, call Travis Heron at 461-3131. The 1% plan ends next Wednesday.
If you're tired of salad dressings made from the package, Borden has an idea for you. A recipe for salad dressings made with tangy, fresh Borden buttermilk. It's just one of 20 great buttermilk recipes in the good old Borden buttermilk book. To get your book, pick up a carton of Borden buttermilk. The offer's on the side. 20 great recipes in one great book. The good old Borden buttermilk book.
And now, the Green Hornet. A burly guard in the state prison walked along death row from the cell where Jack Ludlow, a hardened and unrelenting killer, had been waiting for the fatal march to the death house. The guard stopped before the door to the warden's office.
Come in. What is it, guard?
It's about Ludlow, Warden. He's beginning to crack up. Wants to see you right away.
Good. Maybe he's going to confess. I'll go talk to him right now.
That won't do, Warden. Ludlow's got less than half an hour left. Wants to talk to you in private. He's begging to be brought here to see you.
If he confesses, it'll be worth it. Take another guard with you. Bring Ludlow here to me.
Yes, sir.
I'll give him 5 minutes.
Okay, keep your gun handy, Joe.
Yeah.
I'll unlock the cell door. Come on, Ludlow. got 2 guns at your back.
I thought I could hold out about this. I just got to tell him. I can't go without telling him.
Yeah, I know, Ludlow. It's tough. Open the corridor door, Joe.
Sure.
Well, Ludlow, I guess you aren't as tough as you made out to be, are you? Most of them break when the time gets close. Guess you aren't any exception.
Yeah. Guess you're right.
Here's the warden's office. It's been unlocked.
Come in.
Here he is, Warden.
Well, let's have it. I'll give you 5 minutes, Ludlow. You 2 men can stand guard just outside the door there.
Maybe one of us ought to stay
He's
here.
unarmed. He couldn't get out except through that door. It's all right. Wait outside.
Gee. Thanks, Warden.
Come on, Joe.
Yeah. Now, Ludlow, sit down if you want to. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey, I'm restless, Warden. Being cooked out of that cell.
Yes, I know. What does you want to tell me?
Hey. I understand my old man came in to talk to you tonight, Warden.
Yes? Yes, he did, Ludlow. Felt sorry for him, seeing such a respectable old chap, and... Well, your trouble broke him up quite a bit. Wanted to ask me about certain arrangements.
Yeah, I know. But getting me buried.
Sure that isn't what you came to speak about, Ludlow.
No. I came to see you about this.
A gun? Where'd you get that?
That nice old man stuck it in this big fern over here, Warden. Just so it'd be handy.
You won't get away with this, Ludlow.
Get your hands up quick. Now, walk to that door and stand to one side of it. Get going. I'm keeping this gun right in your back. One slip means it goes off, see? Now open the door a crack and tell those guys to go to the end of the corridor. Tell them you're walking back to the cell with me. Go on.
All right. But I warn you,
Do what
Ludlow.
I say.
Guards. Go to the end of the corridor and watch from there. I'm walking back with Ludlow.
Okay, Warden. Go on, Joe.
All right. Now saunter out beside me. When we get to the corridor leading to the main gate, you'll go that way. If they start a follow, tell them to go back. Now on your way.
You think I'm going to let you get away with
I
this?
gotta die if I don't get out. You'll die too, Warden. I ain't kidding. Turn this way.
Hey, Warden. Anything wrong?
This gun is ready to go off, Warden.
It's all right, guard.
That's the stuff, Warden. We're going to the main gate. Keep it up and you won't be sorry.
Oh, it's you, Warden.
Tell him to open that gate.
Open the gate, guard. There you are, Warden. Hey, isn't that Ludlow with you? What's... Grab him. It's a break. Holy mackerel, you want...
Alarm, Warden.
Prison break! Sound the alarm!
Reed, young publisher of the Daily Sentinel, was in the city room talking to Gunnigan, the city editor.
Everything ready to roll, Gunnigan?
Yes, Chief. Ludlow was slated to go to the chair at midnight. 5 after now. City room.
Gunnigan, this is Mike Haxford.
Say, you, it's about time you phoned in. All the other papers will be on the street
Hold
before...
on, will you? I just gave a story to rewrite. Then I had them connect me with you. Why did you hear what happened?
I ain't got the time to listen. I got
Ludlow ain't dead yet.
Huh? What are they doing? Frying the guy? What do you mean? What happened?
He got away, made a jailbreak, busted out of prison. Now do you get it?
What?
That's right. You can get the details of the rewrite this. See you later. So long.
Hey, wait! That call calls for an extra.
What's happened?
Douglas Axford. He found that Ludlow busted out of prison. Come on, Chief. We've got work to do.
The following afternoon, Britt Reed was going over letters with his secretary, Lenore Case, in his office.
Answer this one in your own way, Miss Case.
Yes, sir. Well, this is the last batch, so I'll get them all out today.
Good. Mail was beginning to stack up.
Hi, Reed. Eddie.
What brought you in, Axford?
I came to tell you about that killer, Ludlow. Reed, maybe you forgot, but when Ludlow was sentenced, he swore he'd get even with the prosecuting attorney and with the guy who was responsible for his capture.
I do remember, Axford.
Who was responsible for his capture?
The Green Hornet, that's who. Ludlow swore to get the lawyer Calvin York and the Green Hornet.
He might get Calvin York, but the Hornet? Oh, no, that could never happen.
Oh, maybe not, but he sure has York upset. Sergeant Burke has a cop posted out there at York's place to protect him.
I think the Hornet can take care of himself. And as for Calvin York, as long as the police are guarding him, he'll be safe from Ludlow.
Sure, that killer wouldn't dare show his face there. If they catch him again, he won't escape the chair. You can bet on that. Well, I'm going out to eat. Then I'll go to cops' headquarters. See you later.
That night, in another part of the city,
Wheezy, they don't come any smarter than Jack Ludlow, if I do say so myself. My little plan worked out to a T.
Yeah, Jack, we sure put it over on him at the prison. You know, I should have been an actor the way I played the sad old man. Warden sure fell for it, and I got a good chance to plant the gun for you.
Okay, you did your part, Wheezy. I'll pay you off as soon as I get my mitts on some dough. I got a couple of things to pull, and then I'll have dough and be even with 2 skunks besides.
You ain't thinking of going out tonight, are you, Jack? The whole city's hunting for you.
Stop beefing. I can take care of myself. You get that mask for me?
Yeah. It's right there in the table drawer in front of you.
I'm going to need it tonight. There. How do I look, Wheezy?
Well, if I ever seen the Green Hornet, I'd say you look like him. But I never seen the Green Hornet, so...
You never seen the Green Hornet, okay. But I have. This is a mask like his. Enough to pass for him anyway. People don't look too close when that guy comes around.
What are you going to do?
Look. You said there's a cop watching York's place, didn't you?
Yeah. He was right on the porch when he went by. Big guy, too.
Cop's a cop to me. I can handle him.
Me, I don't want to have to try.
I'm taking this mask and calling on York tonight, Wheezy.
What? Oh, you're crazy.
That's what you think.
But what about that cop?
I'll get rid of him. I got something to square with York. If anybody's around when I get to him, he'll swear it was the Hornet who bumped him off. Then the hunt will turn to the Hornet, see?
I don't get how you're going to do it, Jack.
I told you to be sure there was a phone in my hideout, didn't I? Now that there is, I'm going to use it. You just listen, and you'll learn how I'm going to do it.
I'll get it, Calvin. Hello?
Is this Calvin York's place?
Yes, this is Mrs. York speaking. Just a moment, and I'll...
Wait, you can take a message for him.
All right. What is the message, please?
I'm calling from police headquarters to tell you Ludlow's been caught.
Oh, that's wonderful. That awful murderer.
Hey, who you call? Oh, yeah, Mrs. York. He sure is awful. By the way, tell the policeman we sent there to come back to headquarters right away, will you?
Yes, of course, I'll tell him. Thank you for letting us know about the capture.
It's a pleasure, ma'am. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Who was that, Helen?
Police headquarters. They called to say Ludlow's been captured. Oh, Calvin, I'm so relieved.
Yes, I'm slightly relieved myself. Ludlow's a dangerous killer.
Oh, they want the policeman who's out front to come to headquarters. Will you tell him, dear?
Yes, I'll tell him right away. I'm glad we don't need him anymore. Now we'll have nothing to worry about.
ready to turn in, Helen. 15 minutes ago, I was tense and worried. I guess the letdowns made me sleepy.
Mm-hmm. You'd better go up and turn in then, Calvin. After all, the strain has...
What's the matter?
Look, in the doorway.
The Green Hornet.
Right. I came to settle a score for a friend of mine, York.
Put down that gun.
Scared, huh? I'm using this gun on you, York.
No, I won't let you.
Get away from me, you crazy dame.
I won't let it hurt you.
Get away, I said. Why, you dirty... Okay, York, this is what I came to do.
We'll continue our Green Hornet adventure in just a moment.
Walt's Appliance in Grand Prairie is resolved to do their part to conserve energy in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The way they've set out to do this is to put a GE microwave oven in every kitchen in the Metroplex. The GE microwave oven is an innovative device, but not a luxury to own. It cooks your meals with 1/4 the time, 1/4 the energy. Waltz will give you 5,000 top value stamps just to try the GE microwave oven for 1 week in your home. The oven can be yours for as little as $10 a month or send it back and keep the stamps. Come to Waltz at 2336 East Main in Grand Prairie this Saturday, February the 16th, and sample some goodies quick cooked by a GE microwave oven. You'll save time, money, and energy. You can make book on it, 3 1/3 books of top value stamps, compliments of Walt's Appliance in Grand Prairie.
And now, back to the Green Hornet. Dining in his apartment, and Cato, his faithful Filipino valet, had just brought in the coffee when Axford entered in a high state of excitement.
Pete, where are you?
Here in the dining room, Axford.
Axford, sound excited. Pete, things are so happening. I just came from the settlement and they've already got extras out in the street.
Well, calm down and tell us what's happened.
Oh, me poor feet. It's good to sit down. Pour me a cup of coffee, Cato.
The place all ready for you, but you not come. Come on, Axford. What's the news?
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, Reed, 'twas like this. I was at Cops headquarters a while ago. Sarge and me were having a quiet game of checkers and talking a bit.
Okay, Axford. You want to sit there all day? Sure move, so get busy.
Now, hold your horses, Sarge. I got dough up in this game, and I ain't to be hurried.
Yeah, hold it. Come on.
Okay, I will. There. Caught you snapping that tight, Sarge. That I did.
Who's this?
Hey, who do you think? Michael Axford, the chap, that's who.
Don't ever get into a game of checkers with him, Moran. He's a crazy player.
Hey, look, you could have made a move there, Sarge.
Where?
There, you see.
Stop kibitzing, Moran, and go on about what you were doing.
Yeah, Moran, you better... Hey.
Huh? What did I do now?
Moran, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be at York's place.
Well, you phoned for me to come back.
What? Who said I phoned?
Mr. York. That is, he said somebody phoned, said Ludlow was caught, and for me to...
Holy crow! It's a trick. Get a squad car, quick, we got it. Police headquarters. Who? Yes, Mrs. York. What? The Green Hornet, you say? Are you sure? Sure. Try to calm yourself. We'll be right out.
What is it, Sarge?
York, he's been murdered by the Green Hornet. Tell the dispatchers to put out a citywide call. Get some of the boys. Get a squad car around front. Get busy, all of you.
That poor Sarge was fit to be tied at the trick the Hornet pulled, Reed.
What makes them think it was the Green Hornet, actually?
Mrs. York saw him. That low-down sparkling shot her husband right before her eyes. That he did.
I see. Well, I can't understand what motive they attached to the crime, actually.
Well, it's as plain as the nose in your face, Reed. That Hornet was in cahoots with Ludlow.
But Ludlow swore vengeance against the Hornet, as I remember.
Sure, but they're both a couple of killers. And birds of a feather run together, you know. They must have fixed things up between them.
certain Ludlow's mixed up in that murder somehow.
True, that's what I said. Well, I'm getting along now. See you later. So long.
Goodbye for a while, Axford.
It's not good. Hornet get blamed for murder of Mr. York.
I'll say it isn't. That must be Ludlow's way of getting even with the Hornet and York at one and the same time.
Well, what you do?
I've been thinking. Ludlow got his revenge on York. Having just broken out of prison, the next thing he'll want and need is money for a getaway. And it stands to reason he'll use the Hornet disguise when he attempts to get that money.
Well, that sounds reasonable. You'd throw more blame on Green Hornet.
Yes. Moreover, he had help in making his escape from prison. That means another crook is working with him.
What of that?
Crooks like that have no sense of honor. They'll do anything for money. I'm going to call the Sentinel. Have Gunnigan run a box on the front page featuring the large reward we offer for the capture of the Hornet. It might give somebody an idea.
Will you wait here to see if it brings results?
No. After phoning the Sentinel, we'll take the Black Beauty and the masks and drive into the business section of town. If a neighbor comes in, we'll catch it over the shortwave radio and the police broadcast it. Then the Green Hornet will be in on the kill. Now for some action.
Britt Reed put through his phone call to the Sentinel. Then, stepping through a secret panel in the bedroom, he and Cato went along a narrow passageway built within the walls of the apartment itself. This passage led to an adjoining building, which fronted on a dark side street. Though supposedly abandoned, this building served as the hiding place for the sleek, superpowered Black Beauty, streamlined car of the Green Hornet. Britt Reed pressed a button. The great car roared into life. A section of the wall in front raised automatically, then closed as the gleaming Black Beauty sped into the darkness. A short time later, Ludlow was in his hideout talking to Wheezy.
Wheezy, we got a problem to solve.
Yeah? Like what, for instance?
If York put away, this town's too hot for us. Gotta get out of here as far away as possible. We'd need dough to do it.
Oh, now, look, Jack, I like it here in this burg. I ain't got no reason to blow.
I know. Listen, Dope, I'm plenty hot right now, ain't I?
Sure, but then...
And you was the one that sprung me from the pen, right?
Yeah, but nobody knows that
If I get caught, they'll know soon enough, Bud. I ain't taking the rap alone this time.
But you killed a couple of guys. Me, I never did that, Jack.
You're an accessory to the whole thing. That means who I bumped off, you bumped off. It's the way the cops look at it. So when I scram out of this burg, you have to go along. Or else something may happen.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Jack. Why can't I just stay
You
here?
ain't staying, see? And we'll get some dough tonight. With me wearing a Hornet mask.
For the love of Mike has some sense. With flat feet all over the place, why do you have
Because
to...
we have to. That enough? Now, look, Wheezy. Got it all figured out. That little movie joint we went to last night. The manager's office is right inside the door off the lobby. I noticed it especially.
But they don't leave any of the dough there after they close up.
We'll grab it before they close up. I saw the manager take a bag of dough in there last night about 11.
But he'll see you. He'll be a witness unless...
I ain't gonna bump him off. I want a witness. He'll say the Hornet stole the dough. Look there, Wheezy. See that headline? Kelvin York shot by Green Hornet. I sure got away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
What are you staring at? See something else?
No, nothing interesting. You say you're going to pull the hole up at 11 o'clock?
Right. You can sit in the car around the corner. We'll get that dough and then blow the town before morning.
Okay. Yes, you say, Jack. I'm going down for some smokes. Want anything?
No. Set it up. We leave in 5 minutes.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Watch yourself, Wheezy.
Yeah, I will. Be seeing you. Hey. I bump off. You bump off, he says. I gotta get from under on this deal. That reward for the Hornet will do it. I'll call the cops. Tell them about the movie holdup. They catch Jack Ludlow. Me, I get out from under with a lot of dough for doing it.
dreaded Green Hornet slid in among the shadows of a back street not far from a small movie theater.
We have radio set for police calls, Mr. Britt, but there's not anything come over we hoped for.
I'm still hoping, Cato. After all, I don't know
Something come on radio now.
Holding all cars. Holding all cars. Green Hornet holding up Neighborhood Theater at 10th and Water Streets. Theater hold up by Green Hornet at 10th and Water Streets. That is all.
It worked, Cato. I want a showdown with Ludlow. We've got to get there before the police. Stop on it.
Okay, buddy, this is a stick-up.
You're the Green Hornet.
What do you think? Put all that dough back in that bag and hand it over. Hurry.
All right. Only don't shoot.
Get it in the bag now.
Yes, sir.
Be sure you don't hold any out on me either.
No, sir. It's all there.
Good. Give me it. Now, lie down on the floor with your face to the wall. If I hear one peep out of you, I'll let you have it, understand?
Yes.
Then get down like I said. No. So long, punk. Get going, Wheezy, quick.
You're not going anyplace, Ludlow.
But you want Wheezy?
Your funny pals in the back seat sleeping. I've been waiting for this meeting.
That sneaking Hornet, huh? You'll be sorry you mixed up in my affairs. Says you? You fool. You'll be caught. The council comes.
Right, and they'll find you, killer.
I'll blow your brains out, you...
Not yet, you won't. Close, but not close enough. Take this. And this. And this one for wearing a mask like mine.
Oh, wait. You can have the dough. I'll give you the...
I'm giving you this.
Oh.
Leave here quick.
Hurry. Crowd gather. Police come.
Get going, Cato. We haven't a moment to lose. The police will know what to do with that killer when they find him. Give it the gas, Cato.
Mike Axford, if I ever have to go through another night like this, hurry up there. You, coffee boy, get to the composing room with our coffee. Holy snakes, what would...
Look, here comes Reed himself.
Yeah, hi, Reed.
What's this I hear about the capture of the Hornet, actually?
Ask him, Chief. He phoned in here and said that they caught the Hornet. I get everything set up and what happened.
Well, what?
He phones back that it isn't the Hornet at all. It was Ludlow posing as the Hornet.
Well, that's big news in itself, Gunnigan.
Sure it is, Reed. That's what I tried to tell him. But he saw it because he had a wee bit of extra work, that's all. A wee bit. Oh, I give up.
What's the real news, Axford?
Reed, the cops got a tip that the Hornet was holding up a movie. When they got there, they found Ludlow wearing a mask and laid out flat in the bottom of the front of a car, if you know what I mean.
Well, I guess I
Oh,
found
it'll take him all night, Chief. They got Ludlow. They got his crony, a little mutt named Wheezy, who squealed to high heavens about everything.
Sure.
Wheezy said Ludlow posed as a Hornet to kill York. And then when the cops got to the scene of the holdup, a crowd of people swore that they saw two Green Hornets fighting in a car.
Two?
Sure. The real Hornet was fighting Ludlow. I guess even the Green Hornet couldn't stand that low-down heel Ludlow.
I know I despise that killer.
Not settled it then. If you despise him, it stands to reason the Green Hornet does too, Reed.
What? What do you mean?
Look at him, Gunnigan. He takes me serious. He doesn't know a bit of sarcastic when he hears it.
Sarcastic, Axford?
Yeah. Did you ever hear the likes of that before, Chief? Sarcastic. Can I throw the rose on?
You certainly can.
And how?
On KRLD, you're reliving the exciting days of early radio. Tonight's broadcast of the Green Hornet will continue following this brief pause.
Honestly, I can't say I don't care how I look. I do. But I don't want to spend all my time on skincare and makeup. I'm just too busy for that. So I use OJ's Beauty Lotion. A crystal clear lotion that's easy to use and very effective. Just a little OJ's on a cotton pad gets all the dirt and makeup other cleansers often miss. So my skin looks as clean as it feels. I care how I look. OJ's Beauty Lotion cares for my skin.
These popular radio dramas, created by George W. Trendle, are a copyrighted feature of the Green Hornet, Incorporated. All characters, names, places, and incidents used are fictitious.
And that's tonight's KRLD presentation of The Green Hornet. Be listening again 1 week from tonight at the same time for the next thrilling chapter in the life of Britt Reed and his constant companion Cato on The Green Hornet. Tomorrow night, KRLD invites you to relive again the days of yesteryear when the Lone Ranger rides again. That's tomorrow night at the same time on KRLD. The latest American Research Bureau survey reports KRLD Dallas continues to have more audience than any other Dallas radio station.
Crime doesn't stand a chance against Dick Tracy. Up next.
And now, Dick Tracy! This is Dick Tracy on the case of the Low Hijack. Stand by for action. Let's go, men. Yes, it's Dick Tracy, protector of law and order. Before we listen to today's Dick Tracy adventure, I'd like to tell you about a great man in American history who was born exactly 190 years ago tomorrow. Marie Jean-Paul Yves Rose Gilbert du Motier, Marquis de Lafayette. That sound familiar to my rugged French? Well, actually, that was the full name of the Revolutionary War hero we all know as Lafayette. But did you know how old Lafayette was when he came to help the American cause? Well, he married at the age of 17, entered the French army. When he heard of the revolt of the American colonies, he decided to help, and at his own expense, he fitted out a ship and sailed for this country. He arrived in the year 1777, when he was only 19 years old. After he'd been here about 3 months, Congress made him a major general. He had an outstanding war record, serving both as a member of General George Washington's staff and as a leader in his own right. After the British surrendered at Yorktown, he was publicly thanked by Washington, and since that time, his name has been greatly honored by Americans. That was Lafayette, a Frenchman who believed in liberty sincerely enough to fight for it, even if it was in a foreign land. And now, Dick Tracy. Yesterday, Deadpan and Cy Heavy hijacked another truck. But this truck was intended to take Cy Heavy to his death. In accordance with Maury Bunn's plan to sacrifice Cy, Deadpan anonymously phoned Tracy at headquarters and told him where he could find the stolen truck and its hijacker. Although both Dick and Pat realized that it was a trap, they had no alternative but to go. Far out on the lonely, moonrise highway, they caught up with the truck. And after an exchange of shots with the desperate driver, Tracy, as a last resort, crashed into the speeding truck. But such things are hard to control, and Patton and Tracy, his foot caught beneath the twisted steering wheel, are now pinned behind their wrecked car by Cy Heavy's barrage of bullets. And while Dick and Pat are fighting for their lives, Maury Bunn sits comfortably in his air-conditioned apartment.
Who is it?
It's me, Deadpan.
Just a minute, I'll click the door switch.
I want a complete report.
Oddly enough, that's why I come here. Should I give it even in the beginning?
For heaven's sake, tell me any way your illiterate brain can. Did you get Cy on the truck all right?
Yeah, worked like a charm. We slugged the driver and got the truck easy.
Very good, very good. Continue.
Well, I put Cy in the truck and sent him off. Yeah, I told him not to stop for anybody, and if he runs into cops, he's to kill him.
Then I assume you told Tracy the route the truck was taking.
Yeah, I phoned him right away and told him the truck had been hijacked.
For a change, things are working out right. Unless I miss my guess, Tracy and Patton should be dead as mackerels right now.
Yeah, depressing, ain't it?
Hardly. With Cy Heavy and Tracy dead, there's nothing to interfere with my future operations. I feel like a celebration. Go wash your hands and face.
Oh, gee, Maury Bun, won't you let me alone? Getting so clean the fellas down the pool hall won't talk to me.
I have absolutely no interest in discussing the matter further. You heard me. Go wash.
I thought that maybe since they carried out everything so good, you might let me off.
I'm in a pleasant mood. Do not attempt to aggravate me. Go over there and get the germs off you.
Oh. I feel like the next job I get, I ain't going to work for no guy that's scared of germs. It's too hard on the Constitution.
I'm afraid you'll never have the opportunity to seek other employment. You will continue to work for me, or you will suffer Cy Heavy's fate.
Not only do I have to keep washing my hands and face all the time, but in between you're threatening my life. That's enough to make a guy want to turn straight.
You're very well paid. Shut up.
Oh, and now on top of everything else, I get soap in my eyes. That does it. I quit.
I am not joking when I say remember Cy Heavy.
All right. You talked me into it. I am now back on the payroll.
There are times when what you substitute for reason, undoubtedly nothing more than low animal cunning, leads you into the paths of good judgment.
That's the nicest compliment I had all day. Shall we dance?
Pay attention to what I'm going to tell you.
When you talk like that, it means another job.
You're quite right. Billy Tell reported a while ago. There's the possibility of large truck shipments going upstate soon. They'll be prize catches.
That's the good.
Billy Tell says the shipments will be very valuable. Right now, we don't know the exact time of the takeoff, but Billy thinks he'll know tomorrow. In which case, I don't want you to leave this apartment. We must be prepared to move fast.
Don't you think you're pushing your luck, Maury Bun? He heisted a lot of trucks these past weeks.
I didn't hire you to give advice. I'll take care of that department.
What I mean is there'll be more cops than ever out looking for hijackers.
On the contrary, there will be none. Cy Heavy will be blamed for all the hijacking, and he's dead. Tracy and Patton will be buried in state for their contribution to law and order, and we can keep right on operating.
I still think we ought to lay low a while.
I can't. My overhead's too great for me to stop. I have a department store that must remain stocked. I have to pay an expert to fake invoices and bills of sale and lading.
What for?
In order to sell the stolen goods across my counters. My whole operation depends on the manner in which I get rid of the hijacked property.
Yeah, I guess you do have a lot of expenses.
I do. I also like nice things. How do you think I could afford such elegant surroundings if I stopped?
Yeah, I suppose you couldn't.
Therefore, you will stand by for another job.
So I'm standing by. But now that Cy Heavy's dead, who am I going to have to work with me, huh? Heisting trucks ain't just a one-man job these days.
From now on, Billy Tell will work with you.
Don't you need him for the undercover work?
He can do that, too. Now that Tracy and Patton are dead, this will be the plan for our...
Slightly eager to kill us.
I'm not in favor of it.
Can you get your foot out of there, Dick?
No, can't move it at all.
Yeah, you almost got him that time. At least I made him take cover.
Good.
It won't be good for long. He's got a Tommy gun and he can make a lot of trouble.
Hey, it's lucky the car rolled this way. At least it gives us protection.
Now that you brought up the subject, yes.
Can you see the truck?
Yeah, it's off the road, but it looks in good working order.
That's not too good.
I know. If he gets to the truck, he can get away from here easily. That is, unless I get a lucky shot at him.
Yeah, there's another thing he might do.
Yeah, what's that?
If he gets the truck started, he could crash into this wrecked car of ours.
That's a happy thought. Look, can't you get your foot out of there somehow, Dick?
Not without cutting it off. The steering wheel shaft collapsed when we hit the truck. My legs caught underneath it as if it were in a vice.
Oh, that's just dandy. Can
Anything broken?
No, nothing but my heart, Patrick. Hey, he's getting noisy. Can you see him, Pat?
I'm going to try another quick look around the side of the car.
Be quiet now.
I have absolutely no intention of getting shot. You just relax.
We're a little darker. This moon is no help in the fix we're in now.
Don't worry about that either.
You mean you can fix that, too?
Sure, I just shoot it out.
Oh, brother. I take it you saw him.
Yeah, that I did. It's also my unpleasant duty to report that his aim is getting better.
He came close?
Well, let's put it this way. A quarter of an inch to the right, and I'd have gone home in a wheelbarrow.
Well, we're in a spot all right, Pat.
Yeah, I know. As long as that madman can keep us pinned down behind the car here, we're in very bad shape.
I could only get my foot out.
Yeah, then we could each take a side, sort of a divide and conquer routine.
Yeah. Where is he now?
Behind the truck. Look, I'm going out and take a couple of shots at him.
I don't think you should, Pat. In this moonlight, you're a sitting duck.
Yeah, possibly, but even ducks get bored. You know we can't spend the rest of our lives here.
That's just what we will do if you're not careful. And I might add that our lives don't look very long from where I'm sitting.
If you're going to be gloomy, I'm going home. Well, I'm not going out that way anyway. I'll try it around this side. I might get a break and wing him.
If you can just keep him behind the truck, it'll be a step in the right direction.
I'll tell him when I see him.
Uh-oh. What's happening?
I can't see him. All of which means that he started down the other side of the truck.
He must be heading for the cab.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Look, I've got to get out and get a shot at him.
Well, you'll get you, sure.
He gets that truck going and get us anyway. Think I've got to chance it. Window after you.
You're all right.
Yeah. Most of the important arms and legs seem to be in reasonable shape.
Thank heavens. What did you do?
Well, I had to crash the truck into that ditch to keep it from smashing into you.
You're a good man, Patrick.
Oh, all this praise will go to my head.
What happened to that madman who was trying to kill us?
Well, I managed to get him just before he'd have gotten me. I dived through the cab window shooting. He couldn't bring his Tommy gun around in time to aim it.
Well, all I can say is that it was a close one.
Yeah, much closer than I like to play him. Let's see if we can get your leg free now.
Well, Pat, if you can get a crowbar, we might bend this wheel back and I can get out.
All taken care of. I brought this heavy tire iron from the truck.
Oh, good.
Yep, that ought to do the trick. Mm-hmm. That's tough, you know.
Easy does it, Pat. Let's not break my leg.
Look, Richard, if you're going to be particular about a little thing like that, I'm going. Now, wait a minute. Just a little more. This is doing it. Oh.
Good boy. Got it out.
Well, tell me, how's the leg? Can you walk on it?
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, yes. Come on, Pat. I want to look at that truck driver.
Right.
Uh-oh. Oh, you ought to let me steady my hand on your shoulder, Pat.
Right, there you are. Does it? There he is, Dick.
By Jove, Pat. I've seen him before.
Where?
Hanging around Maury Bunn's apartment.
In a moment, we'll return to Big Tracy. But first... Well, first, let's talk about Lassie. Lassie, a radio star. Yes, the canine wonder of the movies has come into her own as far as radio is concerned. Because now Lassie stars in a series of stories built around her. Of course, no one expects Lassie to talk on this program. Of course, she'll give her famous barks from time to time. Incidentally, Lassie wasn't always a celebrated standout among the canine kind. She was just an ornery pooch with the name of Pal. Her trainer taught her to sit and lie down, to speak only when spoken to, and above all, to be obedient. But there was nothing about Pal that seemed outstanding. Well, when the search for the movie Lassie began, Pal's appearance to the studio representative was so unimpressive that she was rejected without even a chance to perform. Then Pal's trainer got to work. He taught the dog to crawl, to attack, and to open doors, and even to yawn. He brushed and combed her several times daily. When he took Pal back to the studios for a second trial, Pal, or Lassie, was hired immediately. You'll want to hear Lassie every Sunday in the 15-minute drama written especially for her. Lassie is heard on most of these same ABC stations. And now, back to Dick Tracy.
But, Dick, that's impossible. Maury Bunn's a respected citizen.
I know, Pat. And I also know that I have no direct evidence to go on. But I think I'll have another chat with Maury Bund. And I have a plan that may scare these boys out into the open.
Tracy had better have a pretty good plan because Maury Bund does not scare easily. Better tune in Monday for the adventures of Dick Tracy, heard overseas through the Armed Forces Radio Service. This is George Gunn speaking. For the third consecutive season, the curtain goes up on that outstanding dramatic series, Theater Guild on the Air, this Sunday night. Theater Guild has set a high standard for entertainment since its initial broadcast. As a matter of fact, such was the excellence of Theater Guild's presentations that the program won a plaque when it had been on the air only 14 weeks. From then on, Theater Guild on the Air received many awards. Magazines saluted it as one of the top dramatic shows on the air. Last year, it was awarded honors in a nationwide poll of radio editors. Don't miss this Sunday night's premiere performance for the 1948 season on Theater Guild on the Air, broadcast over most of these same ABC stations. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
One of old-time radio's longest-running and most popular programs, CBS Mystery Theater, is up next.
Now the Mystery Theater.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the world of terrifying imagination. In 1843, a Dr. James Braid of Manchester developed the art of being able to produce trance sleep. Of course, he was not the first. That honor belonged to Friedrich Anton Mesmer. But Dr. Braid did coin the name of this both beneficial yet potentially disastrous parascience, hypnotism. In the skilled hands of a doctor or a psychiatrist, it can be profoundly beneficial. But in the hands of an amateur or someone unscrupulous, it can be murderously dangerous.
That's it, Marge. Just keep your eyes on the coin as it goes back and forth, back and forth. You're getting sleepy, so sleepy. Your eyelids are heavy. You can't hold them up. You've got to sleep, sleep, sleep. She's under, Mark.
You're putting me on, Jeff. She's faking.
No, she's under, all right. She's a hypnotist's dream. Very suggestible. Look, I'll prove it to you. What's this?
Hey, don't hold it there.
Just long enough to show she doesn't react.
You could have burned her.
Oh, come on. You think I'd do anything to hurt your sister?
Well, now that you've got her under, what are you going to do?
What would you like her to do?
Jeff asked me, what would you like her to do? Well, I would have liked her to murder my father. I wondered how Jeff would have reacted if I'd said that out loud. It almost came out anyway, since it's all I think of these days. How to murder, destroy, wipe out my father. Our mystery drama, Murder with Malice, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Marcia Rod and Ira Lewis. It is sponsored in part by new sugar-free diet 7-Up, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
When you feel like having a cold Budweiser, do you automatically reach for a glass? Well, sure, Bud's a great beer any way you drink it. But without a glass, you're really missing something. Now, take that wonderful Budweiser head of foam, for instance. Those bubbles, tiny though they are, still amount to something pretty special at the top of your glass. Taste appeal and eye appeal. 2 results of exclusive beechwood aging and natural carbonation. It takes a lot longer to brew Budweiser that way, but brewing beer right does make a difference that you can taste. That's why, when you say Budweiser, you've really said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
North Jersey is certainly getting a higher yield this season, especially with Suburban Savings Special High Yield Savings Certificate that you can raise for fun and profit. All you have to do is plant a modest $2,500 minimum in Suburban's limited issue 7.50% savings certificate. Then put your certificate in a nice, safe place. Suburban takes care of the rest by compounding interest continuously from day of deposit paid quarterly. You'll get a nice, healthy 7.90% effective annual yield on your 7.50% savings certificate when you let it grow from 4 to 10 years. Early withdrawal prior to maturity is, of course, subject to a substantial penalty. So for a nice, healthy 7.90% annual effective yield, grow Suburban's 7.50% savings certificate for fun and profit at any Suburban savings office in northern New Jersey.
In Principles of Mental Physiology, Carpenter wrote, "The method of producing this state consists in the maintenance of a fixed gaze on a bright object placed somewhat above the line of sight. A light behind the subject shining on the bright object, a coin, a jewel, a small mirror, is very helpful, and a darkened room. Once the subject is in the trance, he or she is open to post-hypnotic suggestion. Luckily for our peace of mind and their father's health, Marge is the subject, and not the bloodthirsty Mark."
Ever since I can remember, I've hated my father and feared him. But never more so than these last 2 years, since he killed my mother. I'd like to kill him, but I haven't the guts.
Well, what, Mark?
Huh? Well, what do you mean, what?
What do you want me to ask Marge to do? Don't tell me I put you into a trance, too.
No, Look, what sort of thing can I ask?
Anything within reason. I mean, she won't do anything to hurt herself, or to hurt someone else, or steal, or anything that goes against her natural instincts. Let's keep it simple.
You know what you ought to ask her to do?
What?
Marry you. She's got a chance to shake this scene and have some kind of decent life of her own and get away from that monster upstairs, and she won't take it.
She loves her father.
That murdering...
Hey, come on, take it easy, Mark.
He killed my mother.
It was a car accident.
He was going 90, and he was drunk when they crashed.
It's a miracle anyone came out of it alive.
It's a pity it had to be him. He got off lucky.
Lucky? A shattered pelvis? Condemned to drag himself around on canes for the rest of his life?
I hope he never knows a moment when he's not in pain.
Hey, Mark. Come on, let's knock it off. I want to bring Marge out of the trance.
Wait a minute. We've got a bet going here. You claimed you could prove post-hypnotic suggestion, didn't you?
Yeah?
Well, suppose you... Damn, that grandfather clock drives me crazy. Old man's pride and joy hasn't missed a chime since the day he was born. Did it wake Marge?
No. She'll stay under till I bring her out of it. What were you going to say before?
Well, suppose you were to tell Marge to hit up the old man for $5,000 tomorrow at breakfast. Would she do it?
Well, she might if she thought it was justified.
Well, tell her I needed to pay off some debts.
Do you?
What's the difference? She won't get it.
No, Mark, I'm sorry. No go. No, if you want Marge to try to get money for you, you ask her directly, when she's fully conscious.
Like I figured, the two of you are just putting me on.
Oh, no. No, I'll prove that to you. Marge? Marge?
Yes?
I want you to do something for me tomorrow morning.
All right.
What time's breakfast?
9 on the dot. Another of the old man's fetishes.
Okay. Now, Marge, I want you to come down and be at the breakfast table at 2 minutes to 9 tomorrow morning. Then, when the clock strikes 9, on the last chime, no matter what's going on, you will say, "Hickory-dickory-dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 9, and I feel fine. Hickory-dickory-dock." And you won't remember you said it. Will you do that?
Yes?
You won't forget.
No.
Now, you've been having a nice rest. But it's time to wake up and feel refreshed and relaxed. You will wake up when I say now. Now.
I feel as if I... What are you staring at? The two of you. Jeff, did it work?
Mm-hmm.
You really put me under?
About 10 minutes.
Oh, that's scary. You know, why, if you can make me draw a blank like that, you can make me do anything.
Oh, no, don't worry. I couldn't make you do anything you didn't really want to.
I should hope not. Where did you learn this handy little parlor trick?
I once took some courses in parapsychology. Do you feel relaxed, Marge? Is your headache gone?
I have to admit I do. And no headache. I really feel as if I'd had a whole night's sleep. You're a master magician.
No, anyone can do what I did, provided he has the right subject, and that person is willing. Not that I'd advise it, though. It's a dangerous thing to fool around with.
But, your friend uses it in his practice.
Dr. Frank? Oh, yeah. Occasionally, if it's indicated. Actually, he's relatively conservative for a psychiatrist.
I don't need him.
Well, honey, I'd like to see you get rid of those headaches.
I'm not a candidate for the couch yet.
Well, I guess I'll hit the sack. Thanks for the fun and games. Good night.
Night, little brother.
Good night, Mark. Little brother?
Didn't you ever know? I was the first twin to arrive. It's only one of Mark's resentments. He's the one who really needs analysis.
Marge, Mark's problems are his own. Yours are something I want to see solved.
I don't know why you waste your time with me. If I had any sense in this mixed-up noodle of mine, I'd marry you, have 4 children, and live happily ever after. But I just can't.
Because you feel yourself tied to your father.
I can't leave him alone, Jeff. I love him. I think, for your sake, Jeff, you'd better forget me.
Will you do me one favor first? Will you just go to see Dr. Frank for a few visits?
You think I'm that bad off?
Well, Marge, you've been pretty mixed up ever since the accident.
I know. Okay, Jeff. Maybe you're right. Let me think about it, and maybe I'll call your Dr. Frank tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
What is it, Jeff?
Nothing. It isn't important. It'd be more complicated to undo than to do now. I'll call you then and explain.
Morning, Mark.
Morning, Dad.
You're surprisingly early.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you something.
If it's money, no.
Dad, I'm in bad trouble.
Well, then dig yourself out.
Dad, Mom left me money that will come to me when I'm 30. Why can't I?
Very wise of her. Maybe in another 6 years you'll be able to handle it instead of gambling it away.
It wasn't Mom's decision. You talked her into it.
I most certainly did.
Look, you don't understand. I'm mixed up with some very hard guys. If I don't pay them off...
Oh, don't talk nonsense. They'll wait for that money. Good morning, Marjorie.
Morning, Dad. Mark, am I late?
No, dear. It's just 2 minutes to 9. Sit down. Have your orange juice.
I'll pour the coffee first.
You sound very chipper.
Yes, I had a wonderful sleep last night. Relaxed as a kitten.
I wish I could say the same.
Well, that's what comes of having a guilty conscience.
And what about yours? I wanted to shout at him as I pushed my chair from the table violently and went to the sideboard. I was seething with hate at his smug self-righteousness. Guilty conscience. If he only knew how guilty, how much I wanted him dead. Serving breakfast plates for Marge and me gave me time to regain control. Then the clock began to strike 9, and my mood improved. A small revenge, but if Jeff's trick worked, at least I'd see the pompous old ass look foolish for once.
What time did Jeff Henderson leave last night?
I think I'm old enough not to have to answer questions like that.
Well, I think I have the right to ask any questions I want to in my house, because I want to know if you're thinking again of marrying Jeff.
Hickory dickory dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 9 and I feel fine. Hickory dickory dock.
What? What did you just say, Marjorie?
Me? I didn't say anything.
I just asked you a perfectly reasonable question, and you replied with a silly nursery rhyme.
Nursery rhyme? Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't...
She doesn't know. She said it.
Keep out of this, Mark.
It was post-hypnotic suggestion.
It was what?
Marge had one of her bad headaches, and Jeff thought he could cure it by hypnosis.
And he did. But what's this about...
Hypnosis? Marge, I must say I didn't think you'd be this foolish. I don't want Jeff Henderson in this house again.
Dad, I'm the one the trick was played on. Where's your sense of humor?
I haven't had any sense of humor since I lost your mother. No, don't help me. I don't need anyone. I can manage by myself. I don't expect it from my son, and I don't ask it from you, Marge.
Dad,
I'll let him go, Marge. He's only looking for sympathy.
Why do you have to be so hard on him, Mark?
Because I hate him. I always have.
Mark, he's our father. I love him.
Well, maybe we're not... What do they call us? Enzygotic twins, after all, huh? I mean, I guess we came from 2 different eggs because the only thing I want him to be is dead.
I think maybe we both need psychiatrists.
I'll get it, Williams. Yes?
Are you Mark Prentice?
Yes.
Well, open up, fella. Let me in. Oh, now, you don't want to see artillery, do you?
Benny?
Yeah. He sent me.
What do you want?
Oh, boy. Benny must be going soft. He lets you into him for 15 big ones.
Now, look. I'm going to pay him.
Oh, I know you're going to pay him. But when? Like, what's on account?
I haven't got anything right now, but Benny knows that I come into my own money when I'm 30.
You got 2 weeks, fella. 2. For whole account. Otherwise, a couple of broken legs, a little treatment around kidneys, you carry the rest of your life. And we'd still be waiting for the payment. You get the message?
I'm scared. And I've never been so scared in my life. And I'm caught. They mean business. And I'll never change my father's mind. I'm going to have to kill him. But how? How? Not exactly the all-American family, the Prentices. But then, where murder is contemplated, and where in fact it may be done, you don't expect to find very normal people. Especially where the murder is premeditated. I'll return shortly with Act 2.
Oh, somebody's been drinking my sugar-free Diet 7-Up, and it's all gone.
Oh, actually, I saved a little.
Oh, a bear!
Hiya, Goldie. What's brewing?
That's Miss Goldilocks to you.
Oh, come on, kid. You mean you don't remember me? The cottage, the 3 chairs, the porridge?
Baby bear!
In the fur. Been a long time, Goldie.
But Baby Bear there.
Just call me BB.
You drink all this sugar-free diet 7-Up, and I have to conduct another diet drink taste test today.
Well, yeah, I saw the sign on the door, a professional taste tester, huh?
But how can I conduct my taste test now?
Why bother? I tried those other diet drinks, too. You'll notice there's still plenty of them around. Why not ask me?
Well, okay, BB. Tell me, why did you drink all the sugar-free diet 7-Up?
I like the taste. Light, fresh, natural, sugar-free diet 7-Up is definitely unbearably delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Hey, Mom, what you got?
What's for dinner? Check ShopRite's low price on first cut choice beef chuck steaks, just 57 cents a pound. Fresh ground beef chuck, any size package, 89 cents a pound. ShopRite hamburger rolls in packages of 8, just 3 for $1. Mohawk 5-pound canned ham will serve a crowd for just $4.99. Save on fresh red plums, 3 pounds for $1. Hotel bar butter, 79 cents a pound. For every meal you serve, you'll get a lot more for a little less at ShopRite.
She loves the family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
This is WOR New York, an RKO General Station, your station for Mystery Theater.
Almost 2 weeks have passed, and Mark has not been able to take any action towards solving his problems. Marge, at least under Jeff's urging, has had several sessions with Dr. Frank, and Harvey Prentice has continued to be himself, domineering, selfish, callous to any problems but his own.
Mark?
Yeah, Dad. What is it?
Where the devil is Marjorie?
I think she's with a psychiatrist.
What does she need with a psychiatrist?
You'll have to ask her that.
Oh, not again. I trust she's not going to be late for dinner this time.
Search me.
Well, when she comes in, I'm in the study. Oh, by the way, I see you appear to be all in one piece. No bruises, no damage. Did you pay off your debts?
No.
Well, I told you nothing would happen.
I've got 2 days left to come up with the money. Look, Dad.
No. Not from me.
Do you know that I'm scared to go out of the house?
Has it ever occurred to you that you should and get a job? That's the way to pay your debts off.
I couldn't pay my debts off with any job I can get.
Perhaps you should have thought of that before you ran them up.
Oh, it's easy to hate my father. And even the fact of murdering him would not be all that hard. It's just how to do it without being found out. It never occurred to me that my sister might provide the answer.
Marge!
Jeff, what are you doing here?
I knew you had an appointment with Dr. Frank. I have the car, so I thought I'd wait and drive you home.
I don't feel like talking, Jeff.
Marge, I haven't seen you in almost 2 weeks. You won't even answer my phone calls. Are you mad at me?
Not exactly.
Is it that silly stunt I pulled with that post-hypnotic suggestion?
No.
It's ever since that evening.
I know. All right. Let's get in the car and you can drive me home.
Sure.
I'm so mixed up, Jeff. I wish you'd never suggested Dr. Frank.
Oh, now, wait a minute. He's a good guy.
Not for my money, he isn't. I know you meant well, but...
But what?
Jeff, I'm not good for you. Mark and I are all screwed up somehow. The whole family, we're Jonahs. Keep away from us.
Marge, nothing you can say.
Why won't you listen to me? I don't want to see you anymore. I can't. There's nothing to explain, and I have such a headache.
Well, maybe I ought to stay and give you another hypnotic treatment.
No. Nobody else is getting inside my head anymore but me. Please, let's just make this goodbye. I don't want to see you again.
Marge, wait a minute.
Marge. What goes?
It's nothing. Just leave me alone.
Okay. Play it your way.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to snap. It's just the top of my head's blowing off. I'm not going near that psychiatrist again.
Oh, what's the panic?
The things he keeps saying. I think he's the crazy one.
How come?
Well, I'm not going to go through all the double talk about the id and the superego and the ego, but what he finally got around to saying was that I was jealous of Mother. And because Dad put her first, I hated him and wanted him dead.
Well, he's got the wrong twin.
How could he say such a thing to me when I literally gave up Jeff to take care of Dad?
Search me.
I mean, honestly, I thought an Oedipus complex was strictly from the ancient Greeks and for doctors talking to each other. Can you imagine me supposed to hate my father?
How could you hate Dad when you dropped everything to take care of him ever since Mom died?
See, that's because I'm supposed to have a fixation. And it's only guilt that holds me back from destroying him.
What?
He says that deep down in my subconscious or whatever, I really want to commit murder.
You sure you know what you're saying?
I know what Dr. Frank said. That I'll never get rid of my headaches till I get rid of my guilt feelings. And to get rid of those, I'll have to kill him.
Dad?
That's right.
Well, there's a quicker way to get rid of headaches than that.
How?
Well, get old Jeff back to hypnotize you again.
No. Jeff and I are through. I told him that tonight.
Well, if you really want to get rid of the headache, well, I could have a shot at the hypnosis route. Jeff said anyone could do it.
No, thanks. I'm taking my headache to bed. I won't be down for dinner.
Of course, I didn't have the idea right then. But some instinct was nudging me that somewhere, somehow, there was a way out for me. But before I could follow the thought through, the phone rang. Yeah, hello?
Hello, Mark.
Look, I'm working on it. I think I've got a way to...
Benny says you got till day after tomorrow. And then you have time.
Well, maybe I could raise,
You better raise it off, though. Because that's when Uncle Benny's calling it in. Or the deep six.
Hey, mister.
Who's on the phone, Mark?
Someone for me, Dad.
Did I hear your sister come in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a few minutes ago.
Well, did you tell her I wanted to see her in the study?
No.
Damn it, face me when I talk. Why not?
Because she didn't want to see you. She wasn't feeling well. She went up to bed.
Before dinner?
She said she didn't feel like eating. And neither do I.
Well, what's the matter with you?
I'm scared, Dad. That's what's the matter. I'm scared so bad I'm sick.
Why?
That was some hard guy on the phone. Benny's man.
Who's Benny?
The man I owe money to. Look, you've got to let me have it.
No.
You don't understand. If I don't come up with it the day after tomorrow, they could kill me.
Don't be ridiculous.
All I'm asking is to give me my part of the money that Mom left. Marge got hers.
Marjorie could be trusted. You cannot.
Please.
I'm not your mother, Mark. You haven't got her around to bail you out anymore the way she used to. This time it's your problem and no one else's. The only way you'll ever get any money out of me beyond living expenses is over my dead body.
The only way I ever wanted it from him. Over his dead body. And suddenly, at last, I could see the way to do it. Dinner was eaten in stony silence. Just the two of us. After it, my father went back to the study for coffee and brandy. I sneaked upstairs to my father's bedroom, which had been my mother's, too, and searched quickly through her drawers to find what I wanted. The rest was waiting till my father was safely in bed for the night, and then moving quietly along the upstairs corridor to my sister's room.
Who is it?
Mark. May I come in?
I suppose so.
I knew you were up. I saw the light under the door.
Dad came by to say goodnight an hour or so ago. I couldn't get back to sleep. What time is it?
The witching hour. Midnight. Mind if I sit on the other bed for a moment?
It's all right. My bed light in your eyes?
No. It's just fine. How's the headache?
Splitting.
I wish I had some magic remedy.
I just like to go to sleep tonight and never wake up again.
No, you don't mean that.
I do tonight. What's that swinging in your hand?
That's a memento from better days. Remember, it's Mom's tick-tock watch.
Oh, I haven't seen that in years. It's still so shiny. Where'd you get it?
Oh, I've had it a while. Remember how when we were kids she used to put us to sleep with it?
The tick-tock watch. Tick-tock, tick-tock, back and forth.
My eyes used to get glued to it. Tick-tock, tick-tock, back and forth, till I began to get so sleepy. So sleepy.
So sleepy.
Sleep, Marge. Sleep. Keep your eyes on the watch. Yeah, your eyelids are getting heavy. Heavy. So heavy. You've got to sleep. 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 Marge. Marge. I can't believe it. She can't feel the flame. Marge, you're asleep. But you can hear me.
Yes, I hear you.
Who am I?
You're Mark.
Am I your brother?
Yes.
Your twin?
Yes.
Do you know our father?
Yes.
How do I feel about him?
You hate him.
How do you feel about him? Marge, I asked you. How do you feel about him?
I hate him too.
Would you like to kill him?
Yes. I've always wanted to. I want to kill him.
I could hardly believe my luck. And just in time to save my neck. The perfect weapon for the perfect murder. My sister. But did I dare to use it? To hurt her instead of being hurt myself? What would they do to her? What would happen to her if I did what I was planning? And would it even work? What were the odds on the biggest gamble I would ever take in my life? A girl helpless under an hypnotic spell, at the mercy of the agent who wove that spell, her twin brother, himself at the mercy of passions beyond his control, eaten up with hate, tortured by fear, hesitating to make an unconscionable gamble with her life to save his own. I'll return shortly with Act 3.
I'd like to describe a car to you. See what you think of it. First of all, it's small. Second, it's got a 6-cylinder engine, a pretty handy asset these days. Third, it's a Buick. Now, in spite of the fact that it's small, this car can seat 6 easily. It's got a 21-gallon fuel tank, which gives it great range. And it weighs several hundred pounds more than most imports, which in a small car is good. Now, what does it look like? Well, that's pretty tough to handle on radio. I'd hesitate to call it glamorous, and it sure isn't homely. I think handsome would be fair, and it offers some pretty attractive styling and trim options. The interior is definitely its strong suit. Now, if that sounds like a little more than your average small car, then I've described it properly. Because remember, this small car is a Buick. The car is called Apollo, Buick Apollo, and it's about as much small car as you'll find on the road today. See for yourself at your Buick Opel dealer.
One of the 10 best newspapers in America. Easily the nation's best suburban newspaper. Becoming a paper of national influence. These words are from a recent issue of Time magazine. The newspaper described is Newsday, the Long Island newspaper. On the basis of editorial excellence, Time magazine selected the 10 newspapers in America that stand out above the rest. One of them was Newsday. Because, as Time noted, Newsday combines solid local coverage with ambitious national and international undertakings. And because Newsday meets Time's other criteria for excellence, it's entertaining and informative. It conducts extended investigations and offers a range of different opinions in its editorial pages. Have Newsday delivered right to your door with no service charge, and see why it's one of the 10 best papers in America. Newsday, Long Island's own newspaper.
Marge lies still, her eyes wide open, but unseeing. Alongside, her brother Mark sits, his mother's watch still swinging its pendulum arc in his hand, unnoticed as he wrestles with the conscience which holds him back from this ultimate gamble. The gamble? Can anyone under hypnotic influence be induced to commit murder?
If she killed, they'd never do anything to her. There's a whole history. The encephalitis she had as a kid, the nervous breakdown after Mom died. She's going to a psychiatrist now. Sure, I can get her off. Temporary insanity. Yeah, that's it. Only will it work? What was it Jeff said?
She won't do anything to hurt herself, or to hurt someone else, or steal, or do anything that goes against her natural instincts.
Natural instincts. What does that mean? Doesn't it mean what we really feel deep inside, even if we don't know about it? It's a gamble, but the odds aren't bad. It's Mark, Marge. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Remember a couple of weeks ago when Jeff was here and we got off on the hypnosis kick?
Yes, I remember.
And what started it?
I don't know. I think, yes, talking about being kids.
Remember how even then Jeff was into the psychic bit?
Yes. The funny cards and guessing and trying to reach each other's minds.
And who was the best?
We were.
Why?
Because we're twins. Twins go together.
Remember how we always liked the same things?
Mocha ice cream and rare hamburger, buttermilk, crazy things nobody else liked.
We liked, just like we hated.
What did we hate?
You know. Coffee, half and half, and hot dogs without relish, and people who lie or cheat or murder.
Murder?
Like Dad. He killed Mother, didn't he?
There was an accident.
He was too drunk to drive the car. Didn't you hate him after the accident?
I don't know.
Don't you hate him now?
Yes, I hate him.
Would you like to see him dead?
Would I?
I would. And we're twins, remember?
Yes, twins.
We always think alike, right?
We always think alike.
I want to kill him. Don't you?
I want to kill him.
Then listen. Tomorrow night he'll go to bed early. He'll be fast asleep by 10 o'clock, you understand?
Fast asleep by 10 o'clock.
I can promise you that. I won't be here. But when the grandfather clock strikes 10, you're going to go to the dining room, right?
When it strikes 10, I go to the dining room.
In the sideboard drawer. You know which one. His dad's carving knife. The one he keeps honed to a razor's edge with the sharp point, remember?
I remember. The carving knife.
Right. And then go to his bedroom and plunge it into his chest. Listen to me, Marge. You'll be doing what you always wanted to do. You'll never have headaches anymore because the guilt will be gone. You'll be destroying him just as you've always wanted to do. Killing what you hate, what I hate. Killing all the hate in our hearts. You understand?
When the clock strikes 10 tomorrow night, I'm to get the carving knife and take it upstairs and plunge it into Dad until he is dead.
And when you wake up in the morning, you won't remember any of this. I didn't sleep much that night, and next day was an endless nightmare. By the time dinner was over, I was a wreck. But the real strain was just beginning. No, it was no sweat to slip the barbiturate in Dad's coffee, and later to help him up to bed, half comatose, and get him settled snoring for the night. It was after the clock chimed 8:30 that I finally left the house to establish my own alibi. Stopping carefully, I might add, on the way out, to make sure the clock was wound, although my father was usually infallible in seeing that it never ran down. And then I left the house.
Hey, Mark. Sorry I'm a little late.
Oh, just glad you're here. Have you eaten?
Yeah. You?
Oh, long time ago. I ordered some setups. Scotch okay with you?
One drink.
Just thought we might have a talk together. What time is it?
Around 5 or so to 9. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Marge.
Well, now, that's my favorite subject. You aren't the bearer of good news by any chance?
Good news?
Well, that she's changed her mind about me and I might have some kind of a chance with her?
Oh, that's something we might discuss, Jeff. Let's have another drink first. Where was I?
Don't you think you should go a little easy on the drinking, Mark?
Hey, if I want to get drunk, I'll get drunk.
Not with me, Buster.
All right, okay, so I'm sober. Where was I?
Well, you were trying to explain something about your sister, which is the only reason you're holding me.
Oh yeah, Marge, yeah. You know, you don't stand a chance as long as Dad's around.
Yeah, I'm aware of that problem.
Well, supposing it suddenly didn't exist anymore, supposing there wasn't my father.
Well, if that's your only question for the evening, maybe we ought to order another drink. Mark.
Huh?
Come on.
What?
Come on, I paid up. Let's get out of here.
No, I can't. What time is it?
It's after 10 o'clock.
How much?
It's 5-10 minutes after 10.
That's not long enough. I got to stay here a while.
Okay, suit yourself. I'm going home.
Hey, we haven't finished talking.
As far as I'm concerned, we have.
I want to tell you about Marge.
Look, whatever you had to tell me about Marge, if you ever had, it's too late for you to make any sense tonight. Either you come with me now and I'll drop you home, or stay. Get as stoned as you want.
I gotta stay. Just a little longer. Doesn't matter anymore. My hands, my feet, everything seemed like lead from the moment 10 o'clock had passed. Before I'd been fired up, nervously tensed, hard put to act normal. Now the drinks meant nothing. I wanted to call it all back. I stumbled to my feet. I rushed out of the bar. In the cab back to the house, I had all sorts of fantasies. Sometimes when the clock got overwound, it would stop. If it hadn't struck 10, maybe my father was still alive. And the other fear, how did I expect my amateur hypnosis would work? In the house, empty. I was conscious of the echo of its sighs for the first time. Through the hall, up the big staircase, down the hall to my father's room. Everything seemed to echo. Carefully, I opened the door to my father's room and listened. No sound. I went in. I looked at my father where he lay. lit by a lamp on the far wall over the dressing table. The first thing I was conscious of was that he was breathing. And I saw the carving knife on the floor. It was instinctive to pick it up. It was bright silver and stainless steel, glittering in the corner lamp. There was no trace of blood. He wasn't dead. And I knew I would have to do this by myself. By myself. There never had been any other way. So I came to the bed, lifting the knife up high to drive it home. And suddenly his eyes were open, looking at me, recognizing what was about to happen. In one convulsive shrug towards me, his eyes glazed over. But in that last moment, he said,
You always wanted me dead. Dead. So, strike. Strike. For all the good it will do you.
So he's dead, as you wanted him to be.
I don't have to listen to you.
Oh, yes, you'd better listen to me. What you tried to do to your sister is beyond belief.
She hated my father as much as I did.
Your thumbnail psychology is about as successful as what you know about hypnotism. Oh, you put Marge to the acid test, and your hypnotic suggestion worked just as you planned it, up till the last moment.
How do you know?
Because your sister ran to me for help. At the last moment, she couldn't force herself to turn against love. Not for this one man, or me, or you, but just the fact that she was human and normal, and hate was no part of her, but love was.
So she dropped the knife and ran to you.
Well, you dropped it too, didn't you? When it came to the test, you could no more strike than Marge. Could you?
I'll never know. He died before I had the chance. A massive stroke had caused my father's death before I had a chance to kill him. But if I wasn't guilty in fact, I certainly was in intention. And to achieve his death, I would have tried anything within my power. I was lucky to get off scot-free, I thought.
And I directed my entire estate be left to my beloved daughter Marjorie, subject to all the provisions to protect it and her from my son Mark, to whom, with all my heart, I leave nothing, not 1 cent. As attorney for the estate, Mark, I'm going to make sure your father gets his wish.
Oh, sure, big deal. You figure to marry the heiress.
I figure to protect Marge from you as long as I live. If I thought I could wring your neck by myself and get away with it, I'd be happy to do it. Luckily, I don't have to worry. No dough, brother. Not a penny. Go pay your debts.
Can one be hypnotized and led to kill? Certainly not from tonight's story, and highly doubtful, if not impossible, no matter who the subject might be. But just in case, I hope we have all learned that it is nothing to meddle with for the uninformed. Like all special areas in life, it should be used by the expert, only in cases of special need. It was some time before Marge and Jeff were married, but once they were, the shadows and cobwebs were wiped away. Mark was only a dark memory that would disintegrate in time as thoroughly as his corporal self, trapped in his cement boots in the shifting muck of the river bottom where he lies. Who sows the wind must reap the whirlwind. Our cast included Marcia Rodd, Nick Pryor, Ira Lewis, and Stotts Cotsworth. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The preceding Mystery Theater program was furnished by the CBS Radio Network.
I'm Fulton Lewis in the Mutual Broadcasting System studios in Washington, D.C. Now, my commentary. U.S. District Court Judge John Sirica today delayed proceedings on a White House motion to quash a special prosecutor's subpoena for more presidential tapes, in the judge's words, for the purpose of facilitating discussions leading to a possible compliance. Judge Sirica's brief announcement came after Special White House counsel James St. Clair entered the judge's chambers, saying that he would ask for a delay in hopes of working out such a compromise. The judge postponed until Friday of this week the deadline for the special prosecutor's office to answer a motion from White House lawyer James St. Clair to quash a subpoena for 64 presidential conversations. St. Clair, you recall, went into court last week with a motion to stop the subpoena, and Judge Sirica originally had set today as the deadline for the prosecutor's response. The judge also delayed a hearing on St. Clair's motion, originally scheduled for Wednesday, until a week from today, next Monday. Before entering a conference with the other lawyers and Judge Sirica, Attorney St. Clair said that he had asked for a 5-day delay to permit the special prosecutor and myself to see whether we can come to some accommodation. In filing his motion last week to quash the subpoena, St. Clair had indicated that the dispute over release of the tapes to the prosecutor might be carried all the way to the Supreme Court. In that filing, there was a formal claim of privilege signed personally by President Nixon, declaring that the conversations that were being sought are confidential conversations, quote, between a president and his close advisors, and it would be inconsistent with the public interest to produce those tapes. About 20 of the conversations in question, the conversations that have been demanded by Leon Jaworski, the special prosecutor, were among the talks for which the White House released transcripts last week. For those, the president said no claim of privilege was asserted. The Jaworski subpoenas were for conversations that started on June 20th of 1972. They span a period of time that finally ended on June 4th of 1973. The earliest date is just 3 days after the famous Watergate break-in at the Democratic Party national headquarters. That was June 17th of 1972. The June 4th date is the day on which President Nixon listened to some of the Watergate tape recordings. The counsel of the president, J. Fred Buzzhart, testified before one of the Watergate grand juries today, but he refused to tell what that questioning was all about. He appeared before Watergate grand jury number 3, which is investigating, among other things, the 18-and-a-half-minute gap in one of the key White House tapes. In his White House role, Attorney Buzzhart had overall custody of the tapes at one point last year, and he testified extensively during a court hearing into the causes of the now famous 18-and-a-half-minute gap and about 2 other tape recordings that the White House said never existed. There have been some reports in recent weeks that Buzzhart still had a major say in just what recordings the president would yield to the special Watergate prosecutor and to the House Judiciary Committee, even though James St. Clair, of course, is now said to handle all Watergate legal matters for the president. The White House indicated today that the president's Watergate counsel, St. Clair, may not fight against the granting of immunity for administration witnesses that are called before the House Judiciary Committee. Press Secretary Ronald Siegler told reporters at a briefing that St. Clair told him earlier today that there appeared to be no problem in granting of immunity. Siegler added that the White House does not have a fixed position on that subject. He noted that it would be up to the committee to determine the question of immunity for witnesses who could tell what they know about Watergate-related matters. Michigan Republican Representative Edward Hutchinson, the ranking minority member of the Judiciary panel, has already been quoted as saying that he would oppose granting immunity to any witnesses who testify before his committee during its impeachment inquiry. Asked if there has been any effect on the White House staff since the president released the transcripts of a number of White House conversations last week, Ziegler today replied, "Over the past month, there has been a hesitancy to make extensive notes or to put anything down on paper." Ziegler said the problem had not yet reached serious proportions, but he said it might if there were a breakdown in the principle of executive privilege. The president issued the transcripts in response to the Judiciary Committee's formal subpoena for the tapes of 42 presidential conversations. Herbert Kalmbach has testified of a midnight meeting in which he said a top dairy cooperative official was told that milk prices would be increased and that the White House wanted confirmation of a $2 million campaign pledge. Kalmbach, of course, is a former campaign fundraiser for President Nixon. He has said in secret testimony that the session took place on March 24th, 1971, in his suite at the Madison Hotel here in Washington. Milk price supports were increased just the following day. The White House has said that the president's milk price order was not in any way influenced by the promise of campaign contributions from the dairy cooperative. The alleged meeting, which took place after a Republican fundraising dinner attended by dozens of dairy cooperative officials, included Kalmbach, Marie Chotiner, and Harold Nelson, or at least so goes the Kalmbach testimony. Chotiner had quit 3 weeks earlier as the president's special counsel and had just entered private law practice where he was receiving a retainer of $57,000 a year paid by the nation's largest dairy cooperative, the Associated Milk Producers Incorporated. Nelson was the chief executive officer of that cooperative. According to the testimony, Kalmbach swore that Chotiner told Nelson that John Ehrlichman, who was the president's chief domestic advisor at that time, wanted Nelson to reaffirm the milk producers' promise of $2 million in light of an milk price increase that the president had just directed. Kalmbach said that Nelson agreed. The next day, the administration made its public announcement of the price increase of 27 cents per hundredweight, which added hundreds of millions of dollars to the income of dairy farmers around the nation. Kalmbach's testimony was given about 6 weeks ago to two investigators for the Senate Watergate Committee, Alan Weitz and David Dorson. They said that this testimony, along with other unspecified evidence, provides the basis for a letter which lawyers for the House Judiciary Committee sent to the White House back on April 19th. That letter, intended to state facts showing the impeachment investigators' need for 45 presidential tape recordings about the milk fund affair, was made public just last Friday. It said, among other things, that on March 24th, 1971, quote, Mr. Murray Chotiner stated to several dairymen that Mr. Ehrlichman expected the dairy industry to reaffirm its $2 million commitment in light of a forthcoming increase in milk price supports. The White House has rebutted by saying that the president was aware of the dairymen's $2 million promise because his aide, Charles Colson, had told him about it back in 1970. Colson has been identified as the main contact in the White House for Nelson, and indeed for other dairy cooperative officials. The White House, though, has vigorously denied that the president's decision to raise prices was in any way influenced by that promise of money. He was influenced, the White House has declared, by traditional political considerations, including pressure from Democrats on Capitol Hill, Democrats who themselves wanted a price increase. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and Soviet Foreign Minister Andrei Gromyko have arranged to meet tomorrow on the island of Cyprus, the purpose to discuss their search for an end to the Middle East war insofar as the current hostilities on the Israeli-Syrian front are concerned. Plans for that meeting were announced in Moscow and by a State Department spokesman traveling with Kissinger. Ambassador Robert McCloskey said that Kissinger and Gromyko will also confer on other East-West topics, including chances for a new treaty limiting offensive nuclear weapons.